He's pissed. Oh, the hair flip.
Oh, man.
He's not having it. It's very evident that they never spent any time together because they don't seem to like each other. So we've been getting it wrong from the jump. They were never called Hall Oates.
From the very beginning, if you looked at any of the album covers, that's what you'd see.
He's like a Greek tragic character. Thought you were a professional.
Broadcasting live from Waldorf Studios, it's time for band practice. The only show where rehearsal is the show. Featuring improvised performances, musical discussions, maybe a guest. So plug in and tune up because it's time to start the show.
All right, here we go. Band practice. We're back. What's happening, Jack?
What up?
We're here. We're back. Another episode. Jack's looking spry. All right.
Limbering up.
That's right. All right, so let's talk about Hall Oates. Are we ready? I mean, we've been kind of working our way up to this, and we kind of said we got to do this right. That's why we had to solve all these technical issues, because we got to do it right.
Yeah.
Are we going to half-ass the Hall Oates episode? I can't go for that.
Hall Oates. No can do.
No, thank you. All right, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I think Hall Oates is like, I feel like we've been making fun of these guys since we were in grade school.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, totally.
And it's been interesting kind of listening through their catalog and stuff, trying to get away from the greatest hits, you know, because I'm trying to think of them more as like these guys were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They were like one of the biggest acts in like the 70s and 80s, and were so respected, you know, and had so many number one songs and stuff.
Absolutely.
But my first introduction to Hall Oates. Yeah, huge. And one of my introductions to Hall Oates, I remember as a child, was watching the video reruns on VH1.
Yeah.
And I think the Maneater video was the first thing that I was ever exposed to with Hall Oates.
Sure.
And it's just so lame and cheesy. So I'm with this re-examination of Hall Oates, I'm really trying to respect their musicianship and whatnot a little more.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it kind of does. It always kind of felt to me like they operate in this wash of like an unnumbered, set of a backing band. You know what I mean? But they don't have identities other than a couple of them, I guess. We don't think of them like some of these other bands that we've talked about already, where it's like, well, they have this is the bass player, this is the guitar player, this is the, drummer.
Yeah.
We have Hall and Oates and whoever they hired to tour with them and record with them. And I'm sure there's tons of those guys because they put out a lot of albums too.
Oh my God, like 20 of them.
Yeah.
There's a shitload.
All right.
And I gotta say, it's pretty impressive. Their first album, like their signature sound is on there.
Oh, really?
Like the very first album, there's like a few songs that you're like, man, this is just Hall and Oates, man. This is what this is like the typical like Hall and Oates. But at the same time, I think they were trying to be Simon and Garfunkel for a while.
Really? I can see that.
Yeah.
Wait, Hall and Oates, Simon and Garfunkel.
Simon and Garfunkel.
Garfunkel and Oates doing the Wayne's World. Fuck, I'm blanking on it now, but he's talking about the I Dream of Jeannie.
Dick something, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Dick York.
Yeah.
Dick Sargent.
Dick
Sergeant York. Perfect. All right. Let's move along here. So we're talking about Hall and Oates. Let's start with a little bit of just primer. There's a couple things we should get out of the way. First and foremost, okay, let's just do a little primer, just in case nobody knows who we're talking about. I don't know who.
responsible for 21 albums, 80 million records sold,
Jesus.
10 number ones, including...
Hell yeah.
Entered the Songwriters Hall of Fame 2004, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He's doing like a book report.
2014, and this is also one of the most sampled songs of all time. That's John Oates, folks.
All right, hell yeah, dude.
1940.
I don't
Hold
know
on.
much.
Wait a minute. What is there a bunch of famous songs that use a sample from I Can't Go For That?
Let's look that up. Let's look that up at some point tonight because I don't
think of
know.
a single one.
He said it's one of the most sampled songs of all time. No can do. All right. So yeah, I don't know who top tech talent is, but I came across this guy this week and I just like his style. He's just giving it to us straight. You know, he's, like I said, he's doing like a little book report. He always reserves the top third of the frame just to keep it nice and wide open, make sure there's nothing going on up there so that we don't get distracted. Anyway, so that's a little bit of primer on the band. There's another piece of real quick info that we need to establish right away. Let's see this.
Hey, let me ask you. One of the things that came up on the show this year was that you guys, the band was never called Hall & Oates.
Did you hear this? So we've been getting it wrong from the jump. We've been getting this completely wrong. They were never called Hall & Oates.
It was always Daryl Hall and John Oates. And
Yeah,
yet,
that's from the very beginning. If you looked at any of the album covers, that's what you'd see.
yeah, did you ever care? Did it ever bother you? Or were you like, that's just weird that everybody just assumes Hall & Oates?
It's just easier to say, you know. It's a brand thing.
Yeah.
Look, we made it a point because we always looked at ourselves as two individuals, and we didn't want to be, known as a duo, even though we were. So it's just one of those weird things, So sometimes, you try to make a point. It's like, hey, it's like the Eagles. Everyone says the Eagles. Well, It's not the Eagles. It's Eagles.
Yeah.
Well, who gives a crap?
Another one of the most annoying little factoids in rock, too, that right there as well. So kudos.
I just gotta say that Mike Calta guy ruined one of my favorite podcasts of all time, YKWd with Robert Kelly.
Okay.
Once that guy hopped on regularly, I was out.
Yeah, I could see why.
That sucks.
He seems like he might be good for some like dumb guy stuff when he's dealing with a celebrity, but if you're just hearing him on a chat podcast, I don't know.
Wasn't he also tangentially involved in the Hulk Hogan, Bubba the Love Sponge stuff? I believe he's like a Tampa DJ.
Really? I don't know the guy from Adam, so I got to look that up because anything Bubba the Love Sponge or Hogan related, I'm going to at least put my eyes on.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, all right. So John Oates, speaking of a guy who's paying some lawyers these days, John Oates touches on something interesting here where he says, we didn't ever want to be known as a duo. Do you hear him say that?
Yeah. Individuals.
Yes. Individuals. If you named one of give me a list of the top American recording artist duos, these guys would be top 5 of everyone's list, right? So it's like he's always denied what he is in that sense. This is a guy I don't think has ever liked the situation that he's been in with this Hall & Oates thing, and I don't know why. We'll explore why perhaps, but just keep that in mind that was like, he's very happy to mention it.
When you're Oates in the duo, I feel like you probably do want to be an individual because my impression is that Hall did most of the heavy lifting, but
sure,
I could be wrong.
But also
on the songwriting and stuff.
But also there's a thing happening because I think Oates is the guy who had the record contract, who's the guy who had the connections, who's the guy who got them their actual start, and then the limelight kind of shifted the way it naturally would with the talent imbalance in the way that it is. You know what I mean? Because I do feel like Oates is a guy who's lucky to be kind of involved, but has always resented that fact as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like a Greek tragic character where like he is the archetype of this type of overshadowed, perhaps resentful, bitter, guy who it wouldn't have even been a Hall & Oates without me, but can't like just let it go and be happy for everyone's success in a way or something. He seems like an angry guy. As we go, let's keep an eye on John Hall's sort of resentment meter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. John Oates.
John Oates. Sorry. Yeah. What did I say? John Hall. What the hell?
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that I noticed as I was going through some of the lore is that they kind of it's very evident that they never spent any time together because they don't seem to like each other. And we'll see what I mean here. We might have this. This is kind of going to be a bit of a slow burn.
Dick Van Patten joins John at 4:30.
You know which song?
Fuck yeah. Just go with me here for a few minutes on this. This is like a local. Okay, so this is 1980. I think this is about as early as I could find. This is a Philly local night talk show. These are Philly guys. That's the original story.
Yeah.
And I love that, even Daryl Hall has a bit of a full, you could really kind of hear him give that Philly accent sometimes too, We're going to go get a couple of Cokes, some water ice,
Water.
He's good for it every so often. So, all right, let's take a listen to a bit of a origin story lore here.
In New York now, but you originally are from Philadelphia.
That's right.
Man, I dropped the needle in on that precisely.
Now, there's a great story involved in how you guys got this whole thing together. It involved a fight, right?
Well, sort of.
Not a fight between us.
No. We both had records out with different bands in the 60s, and we were doing a record hop. You know about record hops, right?
Indeed.
Philadelphia?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we were doing a record hop in North Philly, and
West Philly.
Yeah? Oh.
The Adelphi Ballroom.
See what happens?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's my own neighborhood. Yeah.
And it was predominantly black, and we were the only two white groups on the bill, and the fight broke out, and there was some shots. Next thing we knew...
Some shots?
It was pretty heavy, yeah.
Told you it was my own neighborhood.
Next thing we knew, Daryl and I were in the service elevator, and...
escaping, so that's how we introduced each other,
And how long after that did you two guys
we found out we were going to the same school, et cetera, et cetera.
We were both going to Temple at the time.
Right.
And so we became, we started sharing apartments and whatever. And about 4 years later, we started working together.
That's one.
You never got to thank the guys who were shooting, huh?
You know what intrigues me about two guys working together? I did this earlier.
Okay, so
can you pause it?
Yeah, that's right where I was going to pause. First of all, I need you to help me identify this guy on the right. He's a stand-up guy from way back. But anyway, go ahead.
So, did you look and see if there were actually gunshots, or did he just mean punches and they all took that?
No. They mean gun. They'll get a little more. They'll really amp up the storytelling on this in a couple of these in later moments, I think. But yeah, I do believe that this is a story as we should understand it.
Okay.
Fight breaks out. It's did they have to mention it was in the black it was in a black neighborhood or whatever? Probably not. But anyway, yeah. Fight breaks out.
It does emphasize how they were the only white boys and they were terrified.
Yeah, sure.
So it does
add trauma bonded in the elevator.
It does add some color to the story.
Yeah.
Just considering these two dudes.
Right. And I think on a serious tip, there is a real very Blue Eyed Soul, the whole point of Hall & Oates, at least from the Daryl Hall end of things, is very intentionally and very vocally blending the styles, welcoming himself into black music in a way of saying, I grew up here. This is me. This is my neighborhood. Notice how he said, I told you that was my neighborhood. He's always kind of very, maybe even to the point of naively sort of wanted to be well, what's wrong with me doing black people music? Because this is my music too, so he has a very strong point to make about that, which is part of the reason why I think is the secret sauce to Hall & Oates, is that they're unabashedly going to just take whatever they like and use it without any sort of pretense or whatever. Does that make sense? So this blending of that white and black culture is definitely at the core of their music and their identity for sure.
Right, to give their material some cred. But it's like the same reason when a comic would point out that they started out in
Yes.
the urban clubs, you know,
Yes,
to
because they have
justify their
they have some
urban style of
some
comedy.
maybe even therefore some license to say
Yeah.
things that perhaps I would hope.
Yeah,
in
this day and age, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So that's the story. That's the legendary story. And while we got this guy up here, this little chat show is so chill. Tom Key, Mike Douglas. Okay. Oh, Mike Douglas. Okay. So here we go. Yeah. Okay. So it's even back in 1980. This guy says, you guys ever you guys hang out when you're not on stage? And they say no. All right.
In my career myself.
Yeah.
And I found that it worked best if we didn't socialize, that much and just saw each other when on the job.
Yeah.
Because so many of the duos, especially, there's a whole list of them a mile long who've been together and have broken up. How do you keep it together?
By not socializing.
We
work so much together that we don't really.
I mean, it's cool.
When we're not working, we go completely different directions.
Which is like maybe 2% of the year. So.
And obviously your musical tastes must be very similar.
Well, we come from the same backgrounds. We listen to the same radio stations, so you tend to have the same kind of musical roots.
Did you set out to do what you're doing, the rock thing?
Well, we set out to, we started as songwriters and singers predominantly, and we started out that way, and it blossomed into this.
Yeah.
So.
I just don't like the way he sits there and talks to this guy either. Like he's all leaned back in his chair with his little blue suede shoes, and I don't know, something about it just sets me off. But anyway,
you know how in like The Wedding Singer, like they portray all of like the cliches or all of like the styles of the day, like everyone was wearing like
the Beat It
like
or the Michael Jackson bad leather jacket or whatever.
Yeah, I feel like these guys are those people like throughout their career that just dive in hard on whatever the style is of that time.
Yeah.
And like this little sailor outfit or whatever he's going for here with the blue suede shoes.
Yeah, he looks like a French deckhand or something,
Yeah, it's like it's like European Vacation. Like I feel like Rusty from that movie would be wearing this outfit.
Nate says he has this shirt, and straight up, I have seen him in this shirt.
Do you have the shoes too?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's really what puts over the top.
That's so funny. Yeah, so we got to do a style. We'll do a style watch as we go. So, all right. So we heard them say, we don't hang out. And we also heard them tell the story about this fight, this legendary fight. Now let's watch them tell that story again to one of our broadcasting's national treasures here.
Maneater has already reached #1 on the chart. It's their 9th hit in a row. They've both come a long way from their first meeting in Philadelphia.
Recognize that voice?
Had records out at the time, singles in Philadelphia, and they were local labels, small labels. And we were plugging our record. We were at a record hall.
Kathy Lee Gifford.
Hell yeah. Lip sync. There was a number of groups there, and it was basically an excuse for the local gangs in the area that were dressed up like fraternities to get together, and some fight broke out, some shots and things like that, and we made it out the back, and we went down the elevator. We met each other. We were both going to the same school and became friends. I joined his band, and the rest is history.
All right, so we heard it, all the beats, right? We were at the sock hop. The shots rang out. We hit the elevator. We shook hands. We went to the same school at Temple. Now the rest is history, right?
Yeah.
So it's just, like, I guess my point is like, this might be their only fucking story because they don't spend any time together. They don't have any anecdotes, and this is the interview anecdote. You know what I mean?
And this is all like. Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, why is John Oates in the band?
Right. Because he just said, I had a record label, or I had a record deal with some label. You know what I mean? Like, he was the big deal when they started.
Yeah, I think Paul is just nice and didn't cut him loose and carried him around this whole time.
Yeah, because like they made a deal when they were kids and there was like a thing going, you know, like he wouldn't do that, because that's the other thing. Daryl Hall seems like a super nice guy from what I could tell. Like, he just seems like a real, like a real goober, you know, like who's just happy to be here and happy to just make music and hang out and meet people and go along for the ride of all this shit, you know? And John Hall just seems fucking angry that his friend gets all the attention, you know, or his not even friend, his business partner, because they ain't friends, you know?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're just going to do one more. We're going to roll through some of the paragons of American broadcasting here.
It looks like his bare ass was hanging out.
Yeah, no shit.
Uneven, with Daryl getting most of the spotlight. But John's contribution is just as important, though more subtle. He, for instance, most often serves as the arranger and producer. And there are other differences.
How about what you like to do outside the music? Well, he's more of a Giacomo than I am. You know, he likes to drive around real fast in circles.
More of a Giacomo.
I do that inside my head, that's all right, you know. But no, he's real good at that.
I discovered when I went driving with the Giacomo, as Daryl fondly referred to his partner, that John Oates is as well respected on the amateur racing circuit as he is on the concert stage.
Look at him get up to this here. He's gonna fucking start driving really fucking fast here in a second.
Every time I come back from racing, whether it be a season or a weekend, I come back to my music with renewed enthusiasm and inspiration. I feel like almost mentally, physically cleansed. I feel like I've just gone through some kind of therapy because I'm around people that are not musicians, not talking music. It requires a lot of control and self-discipline.
Look at him.
I can feel I can carry into my
He looks like fucking John C. Reilly in fucking, you know, whatever that movie is. What's that movie called?
Talladega
Nights. Yeah.
He seemed really like, it sounded really like mean when he was like, there's no musicians around.
Right.
Nobody talking music.
Yeah.
I don't have to put up with these pussies. And I can drive my fucking car fast.
Yeah, this Giacomo doesn't really like creative types.
And anything I do out there, I fucking earned it. It's
Right.
because of me.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. I think you're really locking in under the kind of psychology that I'm seeing here too. Thank you. I love the Canada Dry branded like helmet and jumpsuit. That's
Is
just
it really
so
amateur
good.
racing if you got sponsors all over your outfit and everything?
That fucking 1983 race car.
I was just saying that car looked like something like Tesla would put out now.
1,000%.
Like flattened out Cybertruck.
Yeah. Let's take one more look at that fucking thing.
Looks like a Batmobile or something.
Yeah, he's got the helmet. It looks like a Barbie race car or something. You would, you know. All right, so there it goes. So we've gone Kathy Lee to John Stossel. I don't know if you recognize John Stossel's voice there. I only recognize John Stossel when he's getting the shit slapped out of him by a pro wrestler. So Kathy Lee, John Stossel, now Brian Gumbel will hear the same story.
All right, Willard, thanks. With hits topping almost all the charts, Daryl Hall and John Oates have become pop music's most dynamic duo. Their track record's better than such notables as Jan and Dean, Loggins and Messina, Simon and Garfunkel, any other twosome you want to name. In the first half of this decade alone, Hall and Oates already have 15 of the top 40 singles. Recently, I had a chance to talk with the two of them, and I asked them to tell me a little bit more about how they met by chance some 16 years ago in their hometown of Philadelphia.
We were both playing.
Hold on. Look at him telling this story now in 1985. For how many times has he told this fucking story?
It's the only one we have. That hairdo is exactly what I was talking about, though. With these guys just being an example of reflecting the wildest styles of the day.
Yeah.
It's like a goddamn one of those Thundercats or something.
Yes.
Like,
oh man, so good. Okay. All right, so I just love how worn out he is from telling the ones. And you know that like the Today Show, like, you know, advanced crew or whatever was like, what should we talk about? And then he's like, we could talk about how we met, you know, in the elevator.
We could talk about how Hall, you know, how Oates does contribute. He does.
Yeah,
he
what
does
he actually
contribute
does
to the
do. All right, here we go.
I had a chance to talk with the two of them, and I asked them to tell me a little bit more about how they met by chance some 16 years ago in their hometown of Philadelphia.
We were both playing, I had a band and John had a band. We
both had singles out.
And we had singles out. We were playing in a place called the Adelphi Ballroom in West Philadelphia.
The Masters and the
Temp Tone.
Yeah,
Temp Tone. Right. And it was a street corner group. That's basically 4 guys in suits, you know. And I forget who was on. Somebody was on, and
I don't
it was
know.
the 5 stair steps.
You know.
And one of us was slated to go in next, and somebody they had in West Philadelphia, they had high school fraternities, which were really just gangs with Greek letters on their backs, you know. So somebody pulled out a dog chain, and somebody pulled out a gun, and there was shots and people screaming. So we decided to leave quickly, and that's how we met. We were
there you go. There it is once again, man.
Based on good sense.
Yeah,
There you go.
There you go.
And one Bound to Survive. You had a couple of quick hits, right? You had
All
She's Gone. Yeah.
So that was kind of my main thesis with that one, is that that's the story. We'll see if it comes up again as we go, but, you know, just from the jump, they don't have a lot to elaborate on, you know.
I was trying to find a rock doc about these guys that I didn't have to pay for. And there was one that was like going through their, like a tour of Japan, maybe. And
I watched that. Yeah, I watched that same. That was actually cool. There was something in there I wanted to grab, but anyway, go ahead.
They seemed kind of miserable the whole time.
Yes.
It might have, they were talking about jet lag quite a bit.
Yeah.
But they just seemed genuinely unhappy.
Right. And could jet lag have just been the thing that they were saying to, like, you know, when people kept saying, is everything all right? You know? Yeah, jet lag. You know?
I feel like if you see like footage of if the Beatles ever toured in Japan or like the Rolling Stones or something, they would be like clowning around and having a great time. These guys were just like trying to make it through the airport, just slumped over it seemed.
Yeah, there was also a really long extended clip of John Oates doing some really offensive Japanese like Godzilla voice that I didn't
make it through a whole lot.
I opted not to pull that little segment. But yeah, you're right. So like there's not a lot of fun going on between these guys at all. You know, despite all the fun in the music perhaps, you know, there's no camaraderie. And very fractured. You know, we're really stretching the limits of band on this one, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't even want to self-identify as a band. All right. Okay, so let's move forward here. That's the lore, and we get the big picture. We know their place in the world. Let's just place them in the pantheon of rock gods, pop gods, and everything else. And didn't we see something, or did you say something about their connection to MTV, or no? We just saw something about that, right? Like they said they were connected.
Now I'm conflating
no, actually,
what
you know
I've
what?
watched
Hold
and
on.
what we've gone through.
Hold on.
I did watch something where they were talking about how
I know what I'm thinking of here. I was watching this right before we started, so let's shift to this. The only notable band member I can even think of besides Hall or Oates is G.E. Smith. Am I missing anybody?
Not that I know of.
Okay, and you know who I'm talking about, of course, G.E. Smith.
Yes, because I have an interesting perspective on this.
Okay,
as
go
a
ahead.
kid, when he was playing on Saturday Night Live, I thought he was Daryl Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's the guy from Hall & Oates. And I don't think anyone ever corrected me because he is the guy from Hall & Oates.
Well, he's in all of their most famous videos from the earliest days.
But yeah, I thought he was Hall.
That's so funny.
But
and then he quit at the peak of his powers to go on Saturday Night Live and have a steady gig.
Yeah.
All right, so let's listen to G.E. Smith tell us about a couple things here. He's going to be like, so from what I understand... Oh, go ahead.
Did G.E. Smith go by Lurch, or was that just a
I don't
nickname
know.
my family gave him?
Yeah, that might have just been in the household.
Yeah, okay. I think maybe my dad made a joke about it, and
Yeah.
ever since then, he was like Lurch to us.
He does have the look, and he talks like a guy that would play like, a Batman thug that gets thrown into a dumpster by Batman, or like
May have
the wheelman in some mob movie or whatever.
Was he in the first Michael Keaton Batman as a bad guy? No, I'm thinking of
you're thinking of Bob,
the other guy.
yeah,
Bob.
Same vibes. He's got very Bob from from Batman vibes for sure. All right, let's listen to him for a second.
So I go to Daryl's place, and I walk in, and when Daryl's not on stage, he's very shy. Another guy's very smart, very talented. Had this gift from when he was a little kid. His mother was a voice coach, so she had him in the high chair going me 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 yo yo yo. So the great gift he already had, she developed it, and he took it somewhere. So anyway, I go to Daryl's apartment. And I walk in, and I used to take pains with my clothes in those days, in the 70s here in New York. So I had some cool clothes on. And of course, Daryl had cool clothes. And I'm walking in, he goes, "Hey, where'd you get that shirt?" We started talking about clothes. And then, "Oh, we're both from Pennsylvania." "Oh, okay." The guitar never came out of the case. We just talked, and it was like, "Okay, yeah, you're the guy, you're in." So that was it.
Nice. And then actually you guys were on Saturday Night Live as musical guests in '82?
I do remember having a brief chat with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
At that time. That's something that I do remember. And of course the Saturday Night Live people were aware of me because of the Gilda connection. Me and Gilda were married for a few years. And
I did not know that.
So Eddie was sitting there going over a script or something, and he went, "Hey," and we talked for a moment, a nice little, but he was great. He was genuine and focused. Daryl and John had decided, we had done 6 years of very intense recording and touring.
All right. Okay, what was he just talking about? I just got back.
He was talking about how he was married to Gilda Radner.
Yeah, I didn't hear. That was interesting.
And then that's how he had a connection already to Saturday Night Live.
Did he talk about MTV?
No.
Okay, let's. So there's the SNL connection. He's from, via Hall Oates and all of his other stuff into that.
He also talked about how he met with Daryl Hall, and they were both wearing cool clothes in the 70s. And the guitar never came out of the case. He said, "You're the guy.
Respect."
You're the guy.
We're on a wavelength. Yeah, I love that too. Total flex. Okay, so I want to hear the reason I pulled this up is because I want to hear what he has to say about MTV. Because I think that really sets the point of our trajectory here, or the reason why they are, aside from their talent, of course. But we all know it's not just talent. It's all about proximity and time and place, right?
And they had gotten huge and done really well, They'd written a lot of great songs, and that had all worked out. MTV started in, I think, April of '81, came on. And MTV used to be just videos. Music television, MTV stands for. Well, it used to just be just music. And I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying that's what it was when it first came out. Tommy Mottola.
Anyone over a certain age is required to say those words. Whenever MTV is mentioned, they have to talk about that there was a time when they used to play music videos.
Yeah.
It's always been like that. All right, so let's keep going.
Who was Daryl and John's manager, knew the guys
that
were starting
Hold on a
MTV.
second.
I talked over it. Hold on, I got to go back anyway. Go ahead.
Now, how do you feel about that with MTV? Because you think, well, yeah, it would be better if they just played music videos, but at the same time, like Pimp My Ride.
Yeah, no Snooki, no deal.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I don't want a world without
Like-
Mike the Situation, you know, whatever his name is, or Pauly D and All My Friends, and, you know, The Challenge, and, you know, all of the great shows. Like, no thanks. I think it was way better when they stopped showing music videos.
They should have
Personally.
kept VH1 as just all music stuff.
Yeah.
Because those documentaries were classic also on VH1. But
Well, yeah, VH1's totally defunct now too. Like they have completely shut their gates, you know. So
yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah. All right. So, but we talked over something. The connection here is important. Listen to when he says their manager.
Was when it first came out. Tommy Mottola, who was Daryl and John's manager, knew the guys that were starting MTV. We were ready. We had 7 or 8 videos in the can, ready to go. We were among the first 10 videos played the night that they came on. I remember we were playing in Ames, Iowa, at the University of Iowa, and we finished the show, rushed back to the hotel to watch our video on this new cool thing, MTV. It was fun, you know, they're little baby movies. You know, instead of it being a 6-month shoot, it's a 1-night shoot or a 2-day shoot, maybe, you know. But it's the same thing. It's the makeup, it's the cameras, it's the trucks. It's all that. It's all those people. It's the unions. It's the guys, you know. And I love
it. Was like when I was in the first Batman, you know, that was a big movie. These were like little baby
These
movies.
weren't like that. That wasn't like that. These were little baby movies. Yeah. That's so funny. All right. So very interesting. And now notice who we said, Tommy Mottola. You ever heard that name before?
Yeah, I know.
Tommy
I do know that name.
Mottola, baby. So let's talk about Tommy Mottola here. I want to do something real quick, if you'll indulge me for 1 second here. Where was this? All right, here we go.
Born today, 1949, in the Bronx. We got partial musician, but mostly record producer, record executive. He was the head of Sony, Columbia, Casablanca. We're talking about Tommy Mottola.
All right.
Started out as a musician, I think, for
You know this
CBS
guy?
Records in the mid-'60s. Really didn't pan out for him. His big break came when he was starting to manage Hall Oates in the early days.
Shout out.
Pretty interesting in the mid-'70s. I don't know if you remember this song, Dr. Buzzard's Earth Band, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
Actually had a song.
Oh, Bob.
Which started out with Tommy Mottola lives on the road. Here it is.
All right. So Tommy Mottola is the Hall & Oates manager. He knows all the guys who are going to start MTV, and he has them prepped and ready with videos in order to capitalize on this opportunity, right? Isn't that kind of the way that it was just explained to us here? Hold on.
Yeah.
Tommy Mottola here, just because not everybody's going to know who he is, and it's good to educate the listeners.
Reputation was mired and allegations of abuse, openly tried to warn the world about the very abuse in the industry decades before the true scale of the abuse was known. Unearthed emails and phone records show Mottola and Epstein were in regular contact. In 2019, just before Epstein's final
So
arrest,
Mottola's an
Tommy,
Epstein
who
guy.
maintained contact with Epstein even after he was a registered sex offender, gave Epstein contact details for a private investigator. 2017, he also asked Epstein for advice after he got caught up in a still unknown incident at a hotel in Palm Beach. Quote, "I don't have to do anything, just shut up and lay low," he asked Epstein. Ep responds by telling Mottola, "You're safe." After Epstein reassures him that he is safe from whatever has happened, Mottola then says, "Thank you, I love you, man."
Jesus.
Rolling Stone reports that Epstein even used Mottola's name to impress and obtain contact details for young aspiring female musicians, saying he
All right.
forwarded their work.
So we get the idea there, of course, right? Tommy.
Yeah.
And then we just can't talk about Tommy Mottola without the king. This is what shout out my Uncle Howard, shout out my Uncle Franklin.
Throughout the years, black artists have been taken advantage of completely. And it's time now that we have to put a stop to this incredible injustice. And like Mrs. Sharpton was saying, people from James Brown to Sammy Davis Jr., some of the real pioneers that inspired me to be the entertainer that I am. These artists are always on tour because if they stopped touring, they would totally go broken. And it's been, the record companies really, really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists.
Now let me say this.
Sony, Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division.
They're hot.
He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very, very, very devilish.
All right. Classic all-timer.
Dude.
Yeah.
Damn. And then he showed up in the fucking Epstein files.
Right.
Like, in the worst way.
Yeah. Do we want any more? I got a little more Michael on that one. I got one that says Michael is getting gangster today. Do we want to watch that or do we want to keep it moving?
Let's
keep it moving. All right. Let's get
move
back
on
to the
from
Hall Oates.
From the devilish sexual abuse and violence.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. But while we're talking Michael Jackson, let's go back to Hall & Oates with this piece. This is just a little factoid that we're going to jam into the middle here because I don't have a good spot for it.
I read somewhere once that Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, he came up to you guys and said that he was actually inspired by the bass line of I Can't Go For That. I was wondering, it's a two-part question. I was wondering if that's true, if there's a little story behind that, and then also just in general how you guys feel about people sampling the crap out of No Can Do, and I think that's probably the most sampled songs you guys have.
Okay, we're hearing
Just
that
in general,
again.
What your feeling about that is?
Well, it is true. The first part is true. We were doing the We Are the World session. Everybody was talking to everybody else because there was just the artists in the rooms. And Michael came up to me, in conversation, and he goes, "Hey man, I hope you don't mind if I stole No Can Do." and I went, "What do you mean you stole No Can Do?" He said, "Nah, man, I used it for Billie Jean." And I said, "Hey, does it sound like No Can Do to me?"
I was gonna say, I've heard Billie Jean a million times. I wouldn't have thought that.
Well, that was in his head because it inspired him. So he was the kind of guy. He said that to me. I thought that was pretty cool that he said that. But to me, I mean, that just goes to show you though, an artist can take something that even they may think is a rip-off or whatever you want to call it. But
Where were you, John, when that conversation happened at the We Are the World taping session?
I was as far away as possible on the other side of the room.
Yeah, right. I was trying to find the coffee maker. Yeah. All right. So pretty interesting little factoid there, and I can hear it if you listen to the bass line of No Can Do.
Is that considered a sampling though?
Well, I don't think that they're saying
same.
No, I'm thinking those are two different ideas. That Michael took the bass line and was inspired by it, but then also separately, it's a super popularly sampled song, I guess, is what we're learning.
Yeah,
I didn't encounter
I'm just
that.
wondering if inspiration it counts as sampling, then sure, but
right.
I don't know of any like rap songs or anything that have the hook of No Can Do, and
It's probably one of those things where, like, back in the sampling days of rap, they had 25 albums, by the 80s. They might have been just they're easily sampled because of their availability,
Yeah.
All right, so that's interesting, and that kind of leads me to the next thing. You got any thoughts on that, or anything you want to interject before we move on to the next sort of piece of business here?
I will just say in that last clip that you just showed, I think they've done a decent job of the aging rock star style.
Oh yeah,
they don't look like accountants like
right.
the guys in King Crimson, but they also don't look ridiculous.
Right,
running
yeah.
around like Steven Tyler looks like a grandma now.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Totally. All right. Good.
So,
Duly noted.
good-
I think
good
that's
job.
true.
Good job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually keeping up with the times is something we're going to talk about as we move forward here. So good point on that. All right, so you know me. I've made you sit through enough of this over the years that I'm going to do it again. But there are a couple things that I'm just obsessed with, and anytime I can shoehorn it into the conversation, I will. One of those is the We Are the World taping sessions. This is not the first time I've brought that up. The behind the scenes taping of the We Are the World event. So let's give a little context for that here. Oh my God. Come on, Adblock. Do your job. Because it really is just like, oh, geez. What an 80s sound. All right, the story behind the song, And just the collection of talent. Like, I just don't think there's ever been before or since a collection of talent in the same space, working on the same project at such a level. Okay. Come on, where's Jane Fonda?
January 28th, along with several other people, I was fortunate to be here and to witness an extraordinary event. 45 of the most remarkable singers in American popular music had come together to record a special song and make a special commitment. For many of us watching...
All right, that's the idea, right? It was for charity. It was in the 80s. I don't remember exactly what year. Okay, I'm going to drop us in at right around here so we can watch them arrive.
Then, a little after 9 p.m., the other singers and their guests began arriving. Many, like Cyndi Lauper and Tina Turner and Lionel Richie, were coming straight from the American Music Awards, where Tina and Cyndi had performed and Lionel had hosted. People who had been competitors
There's
only
our boy.
a few hours before were now meeting as
Or no, that's
partners
Cyndi
in
Lauper.
deliverance.
It's some guy.
Others like Daryl
Christy
Hall,
Brinkley.
John Oates, Paul Simon, Billy Joel, and Bruce Springsteen had flown in that
All right,
same
there's
day.
we go. There we go.
Here, I guess that's where they leave me stay.
All right. So they're all coming in. Kenny, Tina, God, I can watch this all night. Okay. So let's take a look at, they all start taking their turns. Let's take a look at Daryl's take when it's his turn to sing here. Wait.
Do you think there was ever a discussion of, can we just invite Daryl, or do we have to
Yeah, right.
invite John also?
I think John only makes it into the chorus like he's there next to Dan Aykroyd, All right.
A couple of days earlier by Lionel, Quincy, and Quincy's associate producer and vocal arranger, Tom Baylor.
Oh, there he is. Bruce from the back. Daryl just studying, he's just focusing.
Being
all right.
Individuals. We were
I'm trying to find the moment when we see
so committed to something that it was frightening.
the take. Oh, here we go. I think this is it. There we go. All right, hold on. Watch this. Watch him go from left to right. When we start with Dion, the consummate pro. Like, it literally goes from like Dionne Warwick, like the ultimate like old school, to Willie, who's just slightly more, but they're these two are peers. And then the more and more contemporary we get, the confidence level and the ability to just do it in one take. Just really starts to fall off a cliff here as we go from left to right, okay? Let me back this up just a touch, okay.
We'll be stronger and free. So we all must lend a helping hand. We are
Bruce lurking in.
We are children. Let's start giving.
Is that Kenny Loggins?
Yeah, Loggins.
Yeah.
The great Steve Perry. And here goes our boy.
It's true, we make a better day, just you and me.
Beautiful.
Do you think Daryl is just reading the lyrics off there, or is he looking at those notes as well? Are they all looking at the sheet music, or is that just...
Yeah, I don't know. He had that whole like newspaper like size sheet music in front of him, like he was really studying it while he was doing his take, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you'd need that to know the words.
Right, to
You would need that to like hit the note.
To just
Like
sing you and, to make a better place for you and me. Like, I could do that, within my memory. Like, I feel like. But he does a lot of runs. Maybe he had all those runs written out in notes on the staff.
Well, they said his mom was a music teacher or whatever, so she had him doing vocal runs when he was in the high chair or whatever. So he must be able to just sing music, I guess.
Oh yeah, that I forgot about that because I was stepped out with the dog. But yeah, that is interesting that he did all of that. Like, he is very well trained, right?
Yeah, apparently.
Okay, so then this leads us to one of the high points of if you've never watched this, watching Cyndi Lauper try to get her take, because she's the least like musically trained person in the dais, like, of all,
Yeah.
Okay,
She's an MTV product.
Yes, and she's I just go with my gut, all right? And so this is right where we left off. You see Daryl back here. He's got the headphones on, and he's really studying the music here. Steve Perry's next to him. They just did their take. They sat back down. And there's a slow burn of frustration that we will watch, Daryl here as he watches Cyndi botch all of her takes one after the next. It's very subtle. All right, hold on. We gotta jump this forward.
So they're doing this where they go through each person.
Yes.
And everyone, they gotta nail it. Everyone's gotta nail it.
And one of the issues is that Cyndi Lauper showed up with a bunch of jangly ass like necklaces and bracelets that are interfering with the mic throughout the whole taping, and people are starting to get pissed.
Is that Huey Lewis?
Yeah, hold on. Let me back it up just a touch. Yeah, Huey Lewis,
MJ,
Michael, Cyndi, and then Kim Carn, I think.
Oh, Huey.
Yeah. The fist pump that Huey does to give his take every time, it's like part of his, like, connected to his vocal cords, his little fist pump. When he goes, well, we just believe. All right. So we get the idea here. Look at Daryl in the back.
Do you think Daryl was really the monster in the studio?
I don't know. Look at him.
Like he was the
his head.
difficult one?
Like he was so demanding on the vocals. No, I think he's just like a pro that's like, why didn't you get this 5 takes ago, dude? Come on. Don't you got any pipes? Like, why do we have to do all this for these amateurs? Look at him. He's losing it. Ooh, that might be the actual take that they kept. Anyway.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Talking.
There's talking in there. He's pissed. Oh, the hair flip.
Oh man.
He's not having it. I thought you were a professional.
See, but I thought I heard talking.
This would never fly in Philly
So like what?
with the temp tones.
Sing over it anyway. Hey, look, I don't. Okay.
She don't give a fuck.
Damn. Her voice is crazy.
I know. I love Cyndi Lauper.
She sounds like that gal that was on Kimmy Schmidt, the landlord.
Yeah.
And was in a bunch of movies back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. That's what I like about her, though. She's like, you called me. You want me to be here or not? I'll sing. You want me to sing? I'll sing. Like, what do you want? I brought sandwiches. Anybody want one?
I know Daryl really should recognize that this is one of the most iconic recordings of all time, and like should maybe just soak it in.
And like part of it is like they're all there because they bring so much personality. They're not there because of their vocal stylings. They're there because of, and like there's a moment we won't really dig up or anything, but like when Quincy Jones, who's orchestrating this whole thing, like he's giving them feedback. And he's like, oh, the personalities are all there. Like, what we want is to get the good juice, the Cyndi Lauper juice, the Ray Charles juice, the Bob Dylan juice. You know what I mean? Like, if they just needed singers, they could get the choir from the fucking, you know, whatever, studio guys. But they brought them in because of the energy that someone like Cyndi Lauper is going to bring, you know? And they're
it's like the All-Star game or something.
Yeah, you got to have
of personalities.
You got to have and you got to have a wide net of, you know, you got kids buy albums, right? So, who do the kids like, you know? Okay, I'm trying to think of where we're going to go next. Let's talk about his hair. You know, you mentioned the style, Daryl's hair, and some of the evolutions it's gone through over the years. I found a really wild hair-related interview that he sat for at one point, and I literally mean sat. Welcome to The Barber Chair, 1993.
The song Everything.
Oh, Jesus.
And in the barber's chair this week, he writes massive tunes like Every Time You Go Away. He was mates with Marvin Gaye and the Temptations. He was in a chart-topping duo, but no longer gets his oats. We know he's got soul. We're doing the dog with Daryl Hall.
All right. So this, from what I could tell, is like the original Hot Ones or whatever, like a themed interview show where we're going to do something else while we do interview. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. The barber chair. Okay. This interview guy is unhinged. And that's probably why he's good at his job. He's way better than that Hot Ones guy. Let me tell you.
I have to say, I've done a lot of pop stars' hair in my time, and only, I would say, you and probably Brian Ferry are the only ones that really have great hair.
Good hair? Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's good to know.
You must look after it.
Actually, I don't really do too much to it.
Really?
No. I hardly ever put conditioner on or any of that kind of thing. You know?
Don't say those sort of things.
It kind of grows.
So, the Silver Album.
This is the worst. This is the worst theme. Haircut conversations with the barber are the worst. In fact, I've often said I will give you a $20 tip if you won't speak to me during this haircut.
No, you're missing the point because, the conversation between the barber and the client is the most natural, laid back way to have a conversation. No, that's so funny, dude. Yeah, it is like, and we've often commented on it too. It's well documented on this very show, in fact. Talking about how much we don't like talking to the barber. But yeah, this guy is so funny. And notice how they can't even escape the like, oh, you got nice hair. What do you do with it? Kind of like, and he has to do the same thing I do when I get my haircut, where you're like, I don't know, I don't really do anything with it. I just like wash it. You know?
Keep it greasy.
Yeah.
Keep them natural oils flowing.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe it's a good way to start an interview, to like just ground everything, neutralize everything. You know, I'm not a TV producer, so. Because watch what happens from here, you know? It really takes off. This guy's, he's like, let's dish.
In 1980, had you and John in full makeup.
That was 75, by the way.
Was it 75?
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
Way back.
It's got 1980 written on it. It must have been a reprint.
Yeah, it was.
Now, I know that you had a lot of flack at the time because everybody kind of thought you were gay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did you kind of live with that at the time?
Well, I think it was sort of living it down, to tell you the truth. I mean, I think when I look back on things that I've done, it's like I didn't pay enough attention to when you start out to pay attention to your image, and I didn't do that. I just let people do things to me.
Now, you've worked with some of the big soul greats, you know, like the Stylistics and stuff like that. I mean, have you seen a lot of racism in the music industry, or does that not really occur?
I think to some degree it does, yeah. It's hard to say. I mean, when I grew up in Philadelphia, I was working with all those people, and it was a very integrated scene. I don't think anybody thought too much about it then. It seems like that now it seems to be getting worse in the States. Really? Yeah. I think it's sort of an unhealthy sign.
This
I think
guy's
that,
focused on the haircut.
Things seem to be
He's not even
separating more
listening.
than ever in the States.
Like what?
Just, I think
it makes it hard
segregation on
for him to
radio.
walk out on a tough question.
Yeah, no kidding. This interview's over. Well, I got to do the back. I gotta even it out.
So you got to take off 5 inches on your right side, man.
Yeah, but it's so funny the way that this guy is like trying to juggle eye contact with the interview subject through the mirror, but also keep up the pace of doing the actual haircut and keeping his eye on his work. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's another interesting question here. Let me see if I have a note.
It's not
on
exactly the Jack Great Clip special either, where I'm in and out of there in like probably takes like 7 minutes for him to cut my hair.
Right.
You know, this is some long hair this guy's dealing with.
Well, he's got really long hair, he said.
Got to make sure it's even. He's got to make sure there aren't, the split ends and all that shit. I don't know.
All right, he wants to dish a little further. He already said, "Are you gay?" Everyone says you're gay. Are you gay? And he's like, "No."
Yeah. I didn't run into any of that in my research, but I guess that was a thing maybe.
Well, you know what he's talking about, right? He's talking about that one album that we were...
The Silver Album.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have it. I don't have a picture.
That's what
of
it's
it,
referred to as, like the Black Album for Metallica.
Oh, right. Okay.
The
Yes,
Silver Album.
There we go.
Yeah.
This is the album, and like we said, I saw this and I thought this was like somebody memeing, like using Facetune on their phone and like posted it, but I guess they did this. And like, so he seemed pretty ashamed of it in 1993 when he was getting his haircut or whatever, right? He's like, I don't know, I wasn't really paying attention to my image. I just let people do things and I deeply regret it or whatever, right? But it's like, no, they were going for some kind of a Bowie, like it's the 70s. Like we're getting glam and cool and pushing boundaries, right? Like, I mean, they're pulling it off here. Let me tell you.
I think there's maybe a lot of this in their career where they, they're writing all these hit songs and stuff, but I feel like they're probably very derivative of some stuff that came a few years before.
Sure.
Like when I was listening to that first album and I was like, man, this song really reminds me of A Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I looked up, I was like, when did Bridge Over Troubled Water come out? Like and it was like 2 years earlier.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, these dudes totally are just like, yeah, we're going to try and fucking
like
sound
takers.
like Simon and Garfunkel.
They're just going to take whatever, right? Like,
So yeah, it makes sense. They're like, yeah, David Bowie's killing it, and he's doing his femme thing.
Right. We could do that too. We could
make
be
it look like we got a bunch of rouge on our face. I think it's their sideburns, maybe with this weird exposure, but it looks like rouge.
Yeah, like yes, exactly. It is like overexposed, so it cuts out some of the like. Yeah, it looks like clown makeup in a way, like mime or something,
And he, Hall looks super female, man. Like
Yeah, totally.
he looks like a different person, actually.
Oh, absolutely.
The contrast or whatever took out all of the cheekbone definition.
Sure.
So it's like he's just got these flat cheeks.
Yeah, and whoever did his lips is like perfect,
And if Oates didn't have the mustache, he would look like Sigourney Weaver from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, totally. All right, so this is what he's talking about when he said, everyone said you're gay. What do you say to that? All right, so I like this interview guy in the barber's chair. Let's dish a little further here. There's two things here. So we're about to get real spicy, in fact.
Favorites. And I remember when I saw you in concert in New York, I kind of got the impression that you were really pissed off that Paul Young had got a cover version and got it to #1 as well.
No way, man. I was really happy that Paul cut that song because it always sort
No
of
way, man.
laid around on the B-side of the Voices album, and nobody really knew the song, and I always wanted to play it. I always liked that song a lot myself, and when Paul cut it, everybody, he did a good job with it, and it became a world hit, so now I can sing it, He can sing it, and everybody
You
wins.
didn't sing it before. When you were in London,
know.
I was there. You didn't sing
This
it there.
guy,
You didn't have the courage of your conviction.
I didn't start
Everything
singing.
that Daryl has said, this guy has kind of been like, well, but no, right? You know, like.
After being 5 years off on that album cover, too.
Yeah, no shit. And Daryl was like, well, you're wrong because that's what it was, right? All right. Okay. So then he's going to jump to a real good one here. Let me just get to the last piece of this.
What was that song they were talking about? Who took one of their old songs and made it a hit by covering it?
Paul Young, and I didn't catch the song. I just like the way the guy was like, you were, so that must have pissed you off when he did better with your song than you did, right? And again, Daryl's like, nope, I love it. More money for me. Who gives a shit, you know? I could play it. He could play it, you know? Brother, I got 25 albums. I don't care. You know how many songs I got? You know? But I didn't
Every
actually
time
get
you
into...
go away.
Oh, okay.
Every time you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Is that it?
Yeah, totally.
Away.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that
You
was a
bring
Hall
a
Oates thing.
piece of me with you. Yeah. I bet he made a pretty penny off those royalties.
You want to take another few bars?
Did I? No, I don't.
Wait, don't go too fast here. He's going to hit you with a real hot question real fast.
That you have a son. Is that true or is that made up?
You know, somebody.
Okay, hold on. I didn't go back quite far enough.
Say it. Do you have a son?
In the tabloid, in the media, they say you have a son. Is that true or is that made up?
I read in the press that you have a son. Is that true or is that made up?
You know, somebody asked me that yesterday. No, I don't. No. Somebody said I had a 16-year-old son, which is absolutely not true.
It's obviously something your record company put out.
I don't know where it came from.
What do you think, Jack? You buy that?
I think it came from some gal in Buffalo.
Yeah, right?
That he's denied, probably.
Some gal in Cherry Hill up over on the Jersey side, you know, of Philly.
What, do you know the truth of this?
Well, let's check in a little further down the line here.
You have a minute? How you doing? Good. I got a listener. That's what your son played, and he said he's better than you. My son's an asshole. Yeah, I saw him playing in Venice.
All right.
Oh, what?
Let's run that back, shall we? He
My
said, I
son,
saw your
man.
son play, and he's better than you. Or he
Yeah,
said he's better than
he
you, and he goes, my son's an asshole.
Yeah, I heard it.
Good. I got a listener. That's what your son played, and he said he's better than you. My son's an asshole. Yeah, I saw him playing in Venice.
I gotta go. All right, so apparently he does have a son because, you know, if he was 16 back in at the time of Philly sort of mood came out or whatever, right?
93.
93. Yeah, he would have been 16, so that means whenever this was taken, he would have definitely been old enough to be touring if he is a musician. And I think I found him. Hold on, here's Daryl Hall.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
I am very well. A little chilly, but good.
I know you're in Canada.
Yep. Great White North.
So,
So
I don't know that I see a whole lot of resemblance here.
I did do a little checking. There was an Instagram or something where they were playing guitar together, and it did look like this guy. So I think this is, in fact, him. He's talking to a channel called Breath Body Connection with 141 subscribers. They're talking about some healing event that they're going to be collaborating on here. Let's just let him talk for a second.
Yeah, so, I mean, the rational answer is I've been doing sound healing for over a decade. But, you know, if I look back at my childhood, I was always kind of making music in kind of weird, eccentric ways. I used to sing myself to sleep every night for as long as I can remember till I was a teenager.
Because my dad was on the road and he wasn't there to sing me any lullabies, you know, so I had to sing them to myself. Or something.
Is this child with Sarah from Sarah Smile?
Oh, I don't know. That's interesting. Probably not, because I think they were still in touch for a long time, and I doubt she would be claiming a child that Daryl did not want to claim or whatever, essentially. So anyway, there goes that. We just got a couple other things until it's time to get into some music. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about when we decided to do Hall & Oates, like in my mind, the first thing that jumped in is unfortunately the legacy that they've developed, in my opinion, sort of like post-millennial. The zeitgeist version of Hall & Oates versus their actual, the two guys and their actual music. You know what I'm saying? The mustache culture of it all, the memification of it all. Does that make sense? What I'm sort of talking about?
Yeah, sorry, I'm chewing some ice right
now.
now.
No, you're fine. But like this idea that like there was a time in like, I don't know, 2011 when I feel like it was in fashion to like wear fake mustaches and go to a Hall & Oates themed, party or something in a way that's, skin-crawlingly try hard, but like was a thing essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of.
I liken it to this. Hold on, I gotta find the right spot here, but to me, this is it, and we'll hear from the man himself in a second, but I think this is what it was, if I had to go back and put my finger on it.
This belief. You should know up front, this is not a love story.
I think we should stop seeing each other.
Remember this?
Just like that?
Just like that.
Start from the beginning and tell us what happened.
I tried to talk to her in the copy room. She's totally not having it. Maybe she was just in a hurry. And maybe she's an uppity, better than everyone super skank.
In college, they called me perfectly adequate and handsome.
They used to call me anal girl. I was very neat and organized.
Hey-o.
Yeah, right.
See you.
Yeah, right.
No, who needs it? We're young, might as well have fun while we can.
Wait.
Here we go.
What happens if you fall in love?
You don't believe that, do you?
What? It's love, it's not Santa Claus.
You got to be hard to handle.
Right, okay. So you remember this, right? 2009. Okay, so like, what did I say? 2011. Like it's, this was the seed that, germinated into this resurgence of like Hall & Oates as a punchline band in a way, right? As a kind of like, we're ironically enjoying this instead of like earnestly enjoying this, and not to say the 500 Days of Summer was ironic or, it's like, I just feel like it was part of the wave of, this thing.
I never saw this movie.
Me either. I don't think I ever will. All right, go ahead.
Well, that's kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of the podcast,
Okay.
Is that it's kind of a re-examination of these guys because, while I didn't grow up necessarily with the whole like ironic liking Hall & Oates thing, I grew up viewing them as just like Cheeseville.
Right.
And I never viewed them as like, in the 80s, like people thought they were fucking cool as hell, man.
Right, of
Like,
course.
In the 70s and 80s, they were like, yeah, these guys
You turned
are
on
fucking...
MTV and they were within the first 7 videos that you saw, right? And then also
Yeah.
heavy in the rotation because they were so well prepared with like their whole catalog of videos. They were just getting played more than everybody else for a while.
Yeah. So it's kind of like I've been as I've been listening through their albums and stuff, I've been trying to view them through the lens of just like, imagine that these songs were coming out now and like there wasn't all of the, you didn't have the Maneater video in your brain and whatnot, like,
right.
Because there are a lot of them that are really, really good songs.
Sure.
But there's just so much overproduction.
Yeah.
That it has that layer of cheese on
Right.
it.
And if I recall, we were told by John Stossel that John Oates is the guy in the studio with the production, right? That's his contribution, is the style in that sense,
Yeah.
All right, let's listen to that guy talk for a minute.
the song "You Make My Dreams Come True," you have to remember, when that song came out, it wasn't a massive hit. It wasn't like some of the other #1 records. In fact, it was never released in England or Europe or Japan or anything like that. And so the 500 Days of Summer was really the thing I think that catapulted that song into the social consciousness of the new generation. And I'll tell you a story about it. I was at the Grove. My son, my wife, and I were at the Grove walking around one day. And I knew that the song was in this movie, 500 Days of Summer, but I didn't know anything about it. And it was in the afternoon, so we were like cruising around. We said, let's go and see it. So it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we go into the movie theater and we sit down, and it's the three of us, my son, my wife, and I. And then there was about 4 or 5 teenage girls, and they were sitting a little away from us, right? And we were the only people in the theater, and I didn't know what to expect. So the scene comes on where the song begins to play. He's dancing in the park, and animated birds are on his shoulders, and it's this beautiful, like, love. It's infatuation, and the song just, to me, it was that moment where film and music just went like this.
Come on.
And the girls started clapping and cheering. And I was like, whoa, my hair's...
Look at him.
That's crazy.
My hair and my arms are standing up. No, I really mean it. It actually happened. And at that moment, I realized, okay, wait a minute, something has just happened here. And that was really a moment. And I realized that something had clicked. And from that point on, that song took on a life of its own.
Rich Girl was your first #1, right?
Right.
Do you remember what it was like?
All right, so can you imagine where we would be if Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt hadn't put that movie out? And
well, what's funny about that is that song stuck out to me in a different movie. It was called "I Love You to Death" with Kevin Kline and
oh yeah, I know that movie.
And Tracy Ullman, and then Keanu Reeves had like a small part in it where he was like one of these hitmen because the husband was cheating on her all the time, and they decided they're gonna hire a couple guys to kill kill him, and it's like a dark comedy,
right? Yeah,
but he's like going up to one of their tenants' apartments to fix the plumbing or whatever, and he's railing this chick. And that song is playing in the background as he's like skipping out of the apartment,
right?
Going back to the pizza shop that they run or whatever.
Because it does perfectly. Like if you need that sort of like pure, optimistic kind of happy-go-lucky, like
just having a great day.
Yeah,
Life
like
couldn't
it is
be
just
better.
like the perfect little ditty for all that, right? Like, yeah, so it does hit like a mark. And so there's a reason why it kind of struck a chord in the zeitgeist or whatever, right?
Yeah. I mean, it struck a chord with me when I was a kid watching that movie, whenever that came out.
Sure.
Probably in the 90s. But that song in that movie stuck out to me. And I was like, oh, I like this song.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the mustache for a minute. It's like, if you say Hall Oates, the mustache is going to be one of the first few things that someone mentions, don't you think? Like if they're not like a fan or whatever. Okay. Let's see here.
My dad had a mustache for many, many years.
Yeah, that's true.
It may have been inspired by Hall Oates.
You'll have to ask him. We can follow that up and follow that up with some new business next time.
Yeah. I'll ask
what
him.
What do I do here?
What made you want to grow the mustache?
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Good morning, John. Happy Movember.
Good morning. Happy Movember to you.
You're obviously the ultimate spokesman for the job.
I'm calling myself the patron saint of facial hair, of mustache hair.
That's actually in your press release.
I know. I came up with that and I thought it was cute, so I figured I'd leave it in.
How did you become the
I came up with
patron
that, he
saint of
says.
facial hair?
Well, I'm a self-anointed patron saint. First of all, we have to make that very clear. No one has actually conferred that on me yet. I remember when I first spoke to the Movember people when we started talking about being involved. First thing
Make eye contact, John.
Burt Reynolds wasn't available. Huh? So, and I do have a wry sense of humor.
You're in the Mustache Hall of
Fame.
Fame.
Such a fucking downer, dude. Like he seems so miserable in every interview that he does.
I just
He's
looked
still
at myself
driving
in the mustache,
cars.
and the mustache didn't look.
Yeah, is he still doing I think he's an outdoorsman, you know. I think he's still doing he's probably like a Rogan like style outdoors guy who hunts elk and shit, you know what I mean?
I just looked at myself in the mustache, and the mustache didn't look like it belonged there anymore.
On July 14th, 2009. Oh, God. Okay, so first of all, this is what I'm talking about. And again, 2009, 17 years ago, this is exactly what I'm fucking talking about. This guy he lines up an interview with John Oates because he's got some kind of mustache. He's going for it. Like, just listen to what he says. I can't remember what he says, but he's going to be like doing this like bacon humor mustache jokes throughout this whole thing.
So I read that you shaved the mustache. Was it around 1990? Is that about right?
Yeah, I did. I shaved it. I can tell you exactly when I shaved it. I shaved it. We had been invited by Yoko Ono to go to Tokyo and do a John Lennon tribute at the 10th anniversary of his death. I came back to the hotel room after the show, and something had changed. And, you know, there was a lot going on at the time in, you know, my personal life and my business life. And I just looked at myself in the mustache, and the mustache didn't look like it belonged there anymore. And
Great
it's
zoom
really
in.
weird. I don't want to get too philosophical about it, but it was almost like I was shedding my skin.
How many times a day do you regret that decision?
I have never regretted it from the day I've done it. I've never grown it back. I had no intentions, and I never will.
Is that Tommy Mottola in the middle here, first of all? I think it is. But anyway, you hear that guy, what he's trying to do? How badly do you regret that? And he's like, I don't. Okay, I'm not doing this mustache thing that you want me to do, buddy, essentially.
So you don't feel like you owe people of mustached American descent an apology?
No, they're gonna have to live and die on their own facial hair. It symbolizes the old John, the guy who used to jump around on those videos and who did a lot of things that I personally regret and never would like to repeat.
Wow.
Did you know that every
What are those things?
I don't know. What are you hiding, John?
Is he hanging out with Mottola?
Yeah.
On the Epstein Island?
Yeah, was he there on the day when Epstein was like, "You're all good, just lay low and shut the fuck up," or whatever?
I mean, I researched more of the music, but I didn't run into any like lure of party stories or anything with these guys.
Not
like,
at
what
all.
is he doing
Yeah.
that he regrets with that mustache?
I think in that Japan doc or whatever you were talking about, they mention, or Daryl at some point mentions, maybe later when he's talking to that, we'll look at it in a minute here when he's talking to Sammy Hagar. He says, I never do drugs. Like, I used to smoke some weed. And that was, or smoke some pot, as he says. But like, you know, like beyond that, like, I don't think drugs was a part of it at all.
Or like women, even. I feel like I didn't see much of that. The Hall was with the Sarah chick for like 30 years or something, and her and her sister wrote a bunch of the songs with them.
Right. Yeah. All right, let's let this guy finish his little stupid...
Who knows?
Yeah. Let's let him finish his stupid little bit here and see how John, if he has anything else to say.
Shaved, an angel in heaven dies and falls to earth.
I kind of blew that one, I guess.
Okay. So anyway, there's Mustache Guy. He's very funny, right? Now let's just stick on this one more time because there's a great anecdote here. Which, by the way, the mustache is back, as we know. He's definitely recanted on his "I'll never do that stuff. It reminds me of things I never want to repeat," or whatever he said. Okay, let's listen to that.
You know, I feel like right now the mustache has kind of made its way back into style in an unironic way, though.
Yeah, because there's like a whole... Yeah, go ahead.
I think maybe the mustache had to go through this Movember, you know, facial hair podcasts and all this.
The mustache, pinky tattoos, and all of that shit from the, like, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, where you hold, or the mustache on the finger that you're holding up.
Right.
But now it's like there's kids at the school that come in and they're rocking a mustache. And
oh yeah,
They just have a mustache.
Yeah, like there's a whole generation of like Barstool Sports happy dad fucking bros that like love that look of like mustache, fishing hat, athletic shorts, you know, like just kind of just like the basic ass uniform for a guy who doesn't know what to do. And it's really just like how our parents' generation dressed, basically. Like,
I feel like some of those guys, though, are still trying to do the ironic thing, and it's past them. You know, they haven't registered that it's not really
right. Yeah,
like,
there's somewhere.
If you see someone with a mustache, you don't go, "Oh, look at that." You don't see that very often anymore.
No, not at all.
They're everywhere now, and they're just normal.
But it's like they're also like doing the Theo Von mullet cut with it. That's kind of that ironic thing you're talking about, I think.
Yes, yeah, the mullet with the mustache. They want to look like an '80s wrestler, or whatever.
Like Theo Von, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Let's hear him talk to the AV Club about Movember.
Get rid of it. I was in a hotel room in Tokyo.
Okay.
And I shaved it off, and I just did. And then the next morning I went to the airport, and because we had done a big show, a John Lennon tribute, and Miles Davis was on our flight, and he was in the waiting room. You ever know anything about Miles Davis?
Ladies, have you ever met Miles Davis? No? Okay.
Do you know this guy?
Have you ever crossed paths?
You ever run into him on the bus?
These two librarian-looking ladies from the AV Club. All right, they're actually. She's, I think, probably like a rock journalist who very likely could have. So I shouldn't make any assumptions. But yeah, yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. All right. Anyway, I just think it's such a funny question. It's like such a name droppy thing to do, you know. It's like, oh, you've never been to, you know, Marty's house for the Oscars or whatever. All right, here we go.
Well, he's a very intense dude.
Yeah.
And he came up to me, and he stuck his face right in front of me like this, and then he went like this. And then he went, "Now the loving's gonna be better." And I was like, "Miles, whatever you say." I said, "Whatever you say." I was not, and his eyes were all red, and and I was like, "Okay." So that was the first reaction I got. Then Daryl laughed at me. Daryl laughed and said, "What the hell did you just do?"
What he didn't know though is that Miles was just finishing up describing what a dirty Sanchez was to,
right.
to the person.
Yeah, the
in
loving's gonna be better.
Row 19C. The loving's gonna be.
It'd be funny if he tried that one again with the women. He's like, you ladies know what he's talking about now, right? you get what he was getting at there?
I don't even remember what a dirty Sanchez is, but I think it has something to do with a shit mustache.
Yeah, something like that. Jesus. All right. So anyway, great anecdote though. And that's the thing, like it or not, John, you may not be getting all the glory. You may not be the Daryl in this equation, and you may always be the Oates and the Garfunkel or whatever the fuck. But he gets stories like that. You know what I mean? Like, like that's such a badass fucking story. Anyway. All right, let's look at a couple of appearances. Okay, go ahead. What were we going to say?
I was just going to say, like, he's like Selleck's godfather of the mustache.
Right, yeah.
Like he's the forefather of
Tom Selleck, you think? No. I think they were either contemporaries or Selleck has him edged out a little bit with the, what was that show that he was on? That was in the 70s.
Miami Vice?
No, he wasn't on Miami Vice.
Or, what was it called?
Where he's like, Magnum PI.
Magnum PI.
Yeah. That would have been definitely more of a legendary mustache before Hall Oates were as big enough to do it. To bear the torch, to bear the mustache comb.
Magnum PI came out in 1980, and Hall Oates was jamming around in the, from like 72 to 80, man.
That's true. All right, I'll take your point on that.
I'm not saying his mustache is more. Selleck is the king of mustache.
Yeah,
like
I don't know, dude. I think John Oates might. If we did like a survey, if it was Family Feud style, I think Oates would be number one answer.
I think Tom Selleck would be number one.
I think he's too old now for among, I think that little 90s resurgence is what keeps the John Oates mustache at the top of the pyramid, the Mount Rushmore or whatever.
Well, Selleck was on Friends for a multi-episode arc, maybe even like seasons. Dating Monica.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
so,
you're right.
I mean, that stash is in your face.
All right,
if
so
you're on
we need two more for a mustache Mount Rushmore. Except the real Mount Rushmore only has one mustache anyway. So maybe they're fighting over that one spot.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of any other. Like Hogan had kind of a mustache,
Hogan,
right?
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
totally, the
handlebar
big chopper,
type, or
yeah.
not handlebar, but like almost goatee, but not.
Yeah, like Paul Senior.
Are there any other rock stars that did mustaches?
Well, Freddie Mercury.
Oh yeah, that might be like the real. Well, no, he didn't really start rocking a stash until later.
Because that was
right?
like a fade. That was like a certain era of Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, that was white wife beater phase.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What are the most iconic mustaches in rock? I don't know. We'll have to think about that. We'll come back to that. We spent enough time on mustaches, but yeah, let's Google it and come back to that. In the future, I think, because I do have a few things. Oh, go ahead.
It just hits with me though, because I do like that was a time that we lived through. This like ironic mustache.
Right. That's what I was talking about.
It was
yes.
everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It was like part of a thing we all had to deal with at every wedding reception had fake mustaches, and it was all mustache themed, this and that. It was like a whole goddamn thing.
Okay, I did just a quick Goog.
Yeah.
But Burt Reynolds is totally
on
the Mount Rushmore, and then there isn't a whole lot else, man.
But he's not in rock though. But yes, Burt Reynolds in general.
The AI separated into Hollywood and music and pop culture, and they had to go Freddie Mercury, Prince, Hulk Hogan, Salvador Dali.
Come on.
And then they've got Charlie Chaplin, Clark Gable, Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck. So there really are not a lot of famous.
Yeah.
There's a few men that are really...
I'm thinking maybe Rob Halford of a Judas Priest at some point or something, maybe, but he has a goatee, right?
Yeah, I think that's goatee.
So Salvador Dali must have been on somebody's album or did some sort of Andy Warhol sort of stint in rock or something. How did that get looped in there? You know what I mean?
No, it's music and pop culture.
Oh, okay.
They got Hulk Hogan under that too.
Oh, got it.
So Prince
Hulk Hogan has albums. Hulk Hogan is part of the Rock and Wrestling Connection. Hulk Hogan,
that's true.
Has collaborated with Cyndi Lauper. Just like Daryl Hall has.
But I will say, you can take this up with Gemini if you want to, but Oates is not even on any of these lists.
Oh. So this is my bias, huh? My sort of cultural bias to put Oates at the top of the list.
Selleck is clearly the mustache king.
We got to be on the lookout for more rock mustaches. I'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. Good deviation there. I'm glad we stopped down. Okay, so let's look at some appearances in pop culture otherwise, because, again, once they became, such a meme or whatever, the opportunities started knocking on the door. Irony casting, ironic bookings, nostalgia bookings, mustache bookings. Garfunkel and Oates, we're familiar, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about them.
The classic comedy Hall of Famers.
I used to dance to that a lot when I was like 5, and so
So when we started, we had a MySpace page, as one did, and John Oates wrote to us on MySpace.
which it's crazy. I mean, like, to know that he even knew that we had a band was the coolest thing ever. I mean, I say band, we're a duo, we're a comedy duo, but you know what I mean.
Listen, we support all manner of bands on this show. First of all, you know, we're a band that doesn't even play instruments anymore. We just podcast. So there's all kinds of ways to be in a band in this day and age, right?
Yeah.
But the thing I wanted to stop down and mention, did you notice he DM'd them?
Yeah.
He hit them up on MySpace.
We're a band.
We're a band.
We're a band.
We don't have a drummer or anything.
And John Oates MySpaced us, and he said, I like your band, I think you're funny, and you can use my name if I get free beer at your shows. Then he said, want to jam sometime.
So Ricky calls me and she's like, oh my God, check her MySpace page.
Okay.
And I'm in my kitchen and I read it and I'm jumping up and down. I'm like jumping in my kitchen.
And
I can't
I'm in
believe-
my kitchen reading it. We're
We
both
were
like,
both in our kitchens.
Yeah.
Okay.
So excited. Just like,
There's only so much Garfunkel and Oates I can stomach at one point in time at this point, but you know, you get the idea, right?
I feel like maybe this is some of these regrettable acts that John was
that he
referring to. You know,
that he wants to never repeat again.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that he called them.
There's an island that I like to frequent. Would you guys like to
Do you
come
think?
with my friend Jeffrey tonight down to his island?
You know, Kate Micucci in the MySpace times probably did look like she was about 14.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think we're onto something, dude. We got him.
Micucci had a much better career than the other one too. I wonder if those two have beef like Hall Oates.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because
Yeah.
Micucci was on some Fox show that I liked.
Oh yeah, she does voiceover on
Saving
like
Hope or something.
Yeah,
was that
she does voiceover on at least 2 different PBS cartoons that my kids watch for sure.
And I never have seen this Ricky Lindhorn chick around. Forgot she existed until
yeah.
you brought this clip up. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, she's the reverse. It's the reverse because she's the Oates. I think as they, if you hear to ask them, they just go by hair color. You know. Okay.
Garfunkel and Oates both have blonde hair though.
Another duo. We're really rolling through all the duos tonight. It's like duo band night.
Okay, now let's see. Something completely
Remember this
different
little
here.
cameo?
New Zealand.
No,
We have
actually.
The Flute of the Commodores. Come on up, guys. Come on up.
This would have been when he had started his show, probably, right?
Oh yeah, Daryl's house.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, well, he was probably using some of that publicist or agent that he had for live at Daryl's house to get this booking. You know.
Yeah.
Who likes to rock the party? I like to rock the party. Who likes to rock the party? I like to rock the party. Flight of the Conchords. Flight of the Conchords.
That's what he wanted to do, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, right. All right, so I do remember that little cameo now that, so part of this is shout out to the subreddit who reminded me of a lot of these things. We're going to have to give them a shout out before we wrap this up. But I posted on the Hall & Oates subreddit to get some leads on things I needed to remember or things I didn't know about in the first place, and point me in the right direction, guys. What do we want to talk about? Like, what should we know? What should we look at that's not like on stage? And they reminded me of a bunch of good stuff. So like, this is one I was not actually aware of. But while we're in the comedy realm,
Exclusively on SCTV, the inspirational story of 2 runners and their pursuit of athletic excellence. Of the coach who drove them. And the women who dared to compete with them.
How fast will you run? Faster than a woman.
Daryl Hall and John Oates in Chariots of Eggs, coming soon to SCTV.
so I never heard of that, but that was kind of cool. There's a whole episode where they're like in the whole, they do a musical performance, they do an interview, like I guess it's like a whole like making of this fake movie is the gag. But that was kind of funny. Did you ever watch much SCTV?
No, that's like Canadian Saturday Night Live Mad TV kind of thing.
Yep. And I don't think there's a good shot of like all the gang, but it's like John Candy and like
Rick Moranis, right?
Yes.
And Bob and Dave or whatever.
Right. Yes, you got it. Yeah, all that. And Eugene Levy particularly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of those people, right? From those
yes.
Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest, yes. Okay,
that gal that just passed away, unfortunately, wasn't she on SCTV?
Yeah. And she was in that clip we just watched. She was one of the girls that was racing him with the spoon.
Oh, I didn't notice.
All right, so if we're talking appearances, there's really only one appearance broadcast that I care about. And whenever the stars hit it, I always tune in to Club Random. So let's see Daryl step into the club.
No, it's joint.
I don't.
Oates is who you want to see on Club Random.
So if you really thought it was a club,
you can't hang.
Did you used to?
Yeah, but I don't.
Right, you matured.
Well, I don't want my heart to explode.
Well, you think this will make your heart explode?
Probably, because I haven't been smoking any for a long time.
But you must admit this is, among drugs, one of the more gentle on you.
Well, the truth is, I didn't really do a lot of drugs, even in the day. I never really, I made me nervous. All that shit made me nervous. I mean, I used to smoke pot. That's about it.
But it's probably because, your voice was your...
It wasn't my voice, it was my nervous system.
So clove cigarette.
All right. Classic Club Random appearance where Bill just bickers with whoever he's talking to and finds little ways to like dom them by being like, "Oh, you're not gonna smoke a joint," like.
You know what's crazy too is Bill's in California, right?
Yes.
So I think everyone would agree that once weed becomes legal in your state, it's just kind of like, oh, this isn't really like cool anymore.
Yeah, totally. It's like it's the furthest thing from cool, especially talking about it in any sort of discussion. Yeah.
And in California, they've been able to go into a dispensary with some bullshit medical card for decades.
Yeah.
Like it's not like some thing that's like rebellious or anything anymore.
No.
It's just like,
was Bill like a late stage pot smoker like Rogan, where he didn't start it until late in life and then became like a super annoying
no,
weed
because
evangelist?
he always likes to get street cred by bringing up how he got through college by selling weed. That was his job.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah, don't tell me. I know what it's like to be a drug dealer. Yeah. I used to sell brick weed to my comedy buddies.
I don't know if there's anyone watching this now, but if anyone watches this later, I used to be a big Bill Maher guy. I used to watch him every week, and I'm ashamed of it at this point because he is the worst.
I didn't change, you changed, Bill. That's
yes.
So funny. That's so funny. I love Bill, though. He's always going to be himself, and he's always going to take little shots at the guest that he's got in the club, no matter who they are, All right, here goes a good Oates appearance where he is just on like a tiny little... I think this is a situation where he bought some property out in the country somewhere in Colorado, and someone has a local show that found out and has got him on the hook to come out.
That's a Full House font.
Yeah. I love this series of handshakes, one after the next.
That's a gangly motherfucker, dude. That's Slender Man.
Welcome to a special edition of a local show here.
He doesn't even have to stand up to give those handshakes from across the room.
Grassroots Community Network. I'm Eric Scarvin, your host. So excited to bring in a first-time guest. Been talking to him for a couple years about this. He is a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guitarist, singer-songwriter, record producer. You may have heard of this guy before. His name is John Oates. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, Eric. Great to be here. You've put me in a headlock on the trail a number of times. So we're finally making this happen. I like it.
I know. Well, and that's so fun to run into you doing athletics, and we'll talk about your athletic side today.
Sure.
Okay, so anyway, I think this guy is just like a total goober, but he knows John from being in the outdoors community somehow, and like he said,
in Colorado, presumably.
Yeah. And he's like, I've asked him many times to come on the show, and John's like, yeah, you finally twisted my arm. I'm here. And Oates has got to be like, if I just do it, maybe he'll stop fucking asking. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I could just get it over with, you know? He's like, I love meeting you out on the trail for athletics. All right, let's watch this for just a second.
Seen you out on the mountain bike. I've seen you out on the fat bike, and you like to go skiing, and we'll talk more about that. But we have to start, of course, with kind of currently what's going on in today's world. It's such a big topic.
Do we have to?
Well, we're going to talk about kind of the good things, maybe.
All right.
Coming out of COVID and the recent crisis. And,
that's what everyone wants to talk about.
How have you stayed healthy and happy during this time period? And maybe a couple good things coming out of this for you. Silver linings, I like to call them.
Yeah, well, I think we all try to have to try to look for the silver lining in whatever personal way we can. And we were talking about this a little earlier. When this happened, when the sequester thing happened, I had this revelation one morning.
We got the idea here. I can't remember. I'm kind of actually trying to think of if there's where the payoff is on this.
Can you skip forward to where he plays that guitar?
Yeah. Perfect.
Because I just had a thought that it's kind of weird that he would want to be viewed more individually when I don't think this motherfucker sings lead vocals on any of their songs.
Why would he when you've got Daryl Hall there, right? Why would he
but
sing?
It's like when Pink Floyd split up or whatever. You'd have Roger Waters touring and you'd have David Gilmour touring, but they each sang like hit songs, so they could play, sing those at their concerts and shit. But what's Oates gonna do?
Yeah, like
do
you
the
take
backup
yours,
vocals?
You take yours, I'll take mine.
Yeah.
And he wrote a lot of the songs that Daryl sings, but can he sing them in return when he takes them, if he were to do so? All right, let's check in and see.
It sounded like those two gals were really in one of the things I was watching, Daryl Hall said that he kind of considered the four of them the band. That's how involved in the songwriting they were.
I think I saw something to that effect too. Yes. Which is very interesting. So then you were taking his contribution and splitting it into a fourth rather than just 50%, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't be doing this to him if he weren't such a prick.
Right. But you're leaving us really wondering, what do you do?
Yeah.
Exactly. What
are you going to do with that guitar?
Now, I do think he's a competent hand, but I think it's a lot of power chord rhythm guitar stuff, I don't think I've ever seen him cut a solo or,
I didn't realize that G.E. Smith played on the studio albums too.
Sure.
All the 6 solos are G.E. Smith.
Yeah,
and there is actually some pretty wild tracks on, some of these deep cuts, like some almost King Crimson-ish.
Well, that might be the John Oates production. He's like Robert
and some
Fripp.
really funky stuff.
He's like Robert Fripp, but with more pop sensibility, perhaps. But yeah, I don't know. All right, let's see what he does with this guitar.
He's the opposite, though, because he wants to do things like stuff that's come before.
Yes. Yeah, because they're takers, Yes, because they're like co-opters, as we've been talking about.
Like, I want new band members. I want new instruments, too.
Right, yeah.
Give me a Dr. Seuss
Throw it
machine
all in the
on
trash.
every song.
Yeah. Yeah, bring me the Mellotron. No, not the Mellotron. It's over. I need a fucking Roland synth or whatever,
I need one of those things that Cake plays.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so let's see what he does with this guitar.
Completely different. And the great friends I met and the crazy
Be hilarious
things that
if he just
happened in
never
those
even.
days, it was it was the Wild West and kind of cool.
One other quick question about that era is that all the musicians that were around.
Yeah.
You know, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, the Eagles,
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks came here and wrote Landslide. I mean, it was on and on. John Denver.
Buffett.
Yeah, what was
Don
that
Henley,
like? You know, just
Glenn.
being surrounded by, which is kind of like why you're in Nashville now. You know, it's like such a
Yeah.
big music scene.
Yeah.
But Aspen was a big music scene. What was that
was.
like with all these artists around?
It was great to hang with those guys. I mean, I knew,
Okay.
you know, I had met Don Henley
Aspen.
and Glenn Fry when
Where all these rich rock stars spent their time off tour.
Now, I have a couple of songs that I really want to hear. She's Gone.
Uh-oh.
Or Sarah Smile.
Uh-oh.
Which do you want to start out with?
I play them all, man. You know,
How about She's Gone? Because that really summarizes all my relationships. I'm being selfish right now.
Sorry about that, but
They all just keep moving away, John.
I pushed all of them off cliffs in Colorado, though.
Yeah.
They'll
can't-
never
She's
be
Gone.
found.
She's Gone is one of those songs that, you know, every...
They can't keep up with me on the trail. They keep getting lost in the woods because I'm moving too quickly. All right.
When I want to get rid of my haul, I push her off a cliff.
Yeah.
You know, hopefully can write a
Let's
song.
just
at
jump
some-
ahead.
I can see love taking a toll on me. She's gone. I better learn how to face it. She's gone.
Oh man, it's really not even close as good.
Yeah. He's like definitely adapting the song to his voice.
Think I'll spend eternity.
He's doing like winery acoustic.
Putting a little bit of that Springsteen.
Yeah.
Little Springsteen fry on there.
Yes. And just like slowing it down as he needs to, changing it how he needs to. But maybe this is how he wrote it, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he brought it to the band like this, and then they put all the, you know.
I wish Eric would start joining in and just doing some sick fucking back vocals.
Yeah.
But probably not.
She's gone. She's gone. And he's like, I'm sorry, I had to do that. This is a lifelong dream.
Listen, I've always wanted to be a part of Hall Oates.
All right. Let's talk about the John
I've
Oates.
never been able to play guitar because my arms are too long.
Yeah, my fingers are actually too spindly for the guitar. They get caught in between the strings.
If I want to be able to play it, I got to hold that thing a good 4 or 5 feet out in front of me, just so my arms can get in the right position.
All right. He looks like he's really ripping on that thing right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of John Oates as a songwriter, this is like maybe one of the craziest things that I uncovered in my research. Let's hear him say it himself.
Where does your love for reggae stem from? Because there is a little bit of reggae on this new album, and then Maneater wasn't that supposed to be a reggae song?
It was. Well, I mean, I had just come back from Jamaica when I got the idea for Maneater, and then of course when Daryl and I got together, I wrote the chorus as a reggae song. You know, like, oh, here she come, papa. Watch out, boy, she's gonna chew you up. And I thought that was pretty cool, right? And then Daryl and I got together, and he's like, reggae, I don't know if that works for Hall Oates. Let's do this instead. And he was right. And he came up with the boom, 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 which is like a Motown ripoff, basically. But then 2 years ago, I went to Kingston, and I re-recorded it with the guys who played with Jimmy Cliff and Bob Marley and some of the best reggae musicians, in Jamaica. And we put that out as a reggae version. Now I do live. I do a hybrid between the Hall & Oates version and a reggae version. It's kind of I don't know what it is, but it's pretty cool.
Where does your love?
He's got big time Joe Cumia vibes when he's talking here. I don't know what to say other than that. But okay, so I was so intrigued to hear this little tidbit that Maneater was originally supposed to be a reggae song. If John Oates had just been given free license I like how he said, and he was right,
Yeah.
All right, let's get a taste of what that was kind of is like here. If you go see John Hall or John Oates live. All right, we get the idea. This is like when we were starting a band and we were just like testing things out with Schnock, and we were doing "Burning for You" by Blue Oyster Cult in a reggae kind of dub. It was fashion, you remember?
Yeah, I remember having a hard time learning that song for some reason.
Oh, right. It has some parts that are like repeat, but they're similar, but they're different enough. You got to literally keep count of how many times you did it and shit. All right, but I was really intrigued by this. He said he went to Jamaica. He said he went and found the guys who recorded with Jimmy Cliff and all that, right? So I had to go find that. Let's give this a second, dude. This is so good. John Hall, man, it makes me wonder if, like, when he did it the first time, if it was Maneater, because it's reggae now, so it's like, here she comes, man, from what I understand. So let's go back to where we started here with another soundbite. We got just a couple things left here.
The sound of the car horn.
Hold on.
Trucks at 4:30 in the morning or whatever, and all that stuff comes together, and it not only subliminally but overtly creates a sound that.
Do they hate each other? That's kind of what we're trying to establish. How early on did they hate each other? This is 83. And I thought this was my timestamp.
So I guess they'll just keep evolving. They will. After 12 years and 14
record albums. I don't know. Maybe I have the wrong...
That's great. And we can expect even more from them.
Maybe I have the wrong link overall, but let's just keep it moving here. My note on this one says, John Oates gets messy with Michael Strahan.
Ever perform together again?
Not from my point of view, but you need to ask Daryl how he feels about it.
This morning, John Oates, half of the legendary rock duo
He looks
known
pissed.
as Hall Oates, famous for huge hits like Rich Girl.
I wonder if this is like right after he got served with that restraining order and they went to get on TV to get his side of the story on there or something, He looks fucking angry. All right, come on, guys.
Those eyebrows.
Yeah, that's true.
He's permanently angry. He's got resting angry face.
Yeah, that's true. His like facelift gives him like maniacal eyebrows. He's always mad.
Oates, alleging that Oates attempted to sell his share of their jointly owned company, Hall Oates Enterprises, without Hall's permission. Did you try to sell your half of the company or your part?
I did. Yeah, I did. And let me explain to you why I did. When this whole situation got mired in legality and really complex, legal wranglings, I got frustrated. And I said, you know what? Daryl has always wanted to be his own man. I said, I'm going to give him the opportunity to do that. If I sell my half...
So messy.
He can either, he can do what he wants. And it was kind of ruining my life.
He's talking like a jilted ex-wife, right? Like, he's always wanted to, like, be his own person, and now I'm just going to give him what he wants, Like,
yeah.
Like, fucking see how he likes it.
Honest with you, I wasn't happy. I said, well, I'll just step aside. And people do it all the time. I mean, you look at all the artists who are selling all their catalogs. It's pretty common. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah,
but
no.
Daryl didn't like the idea that I would sell to a certain third party.
He said that the alleged planned sale was, quote, a completely clandestine and bad faith move, and called it, quote, the ultimate partnership betrayal. Do you see it that way?
Well, that's strong words, huh?
Yeah, very strong words. But
He's
do you
so
see
mad.
it that way?
Not at all. I don't. Because we've always looked at ourselves as individuals working together.
Yep.
And I felt like
From the very
I
beginning.
had the right to do that. But, you know, he didn't.
I mean, what do you make of this, Jack? Because it does kind of sound like he's like, you know, a lot of people do it. They take the cash and run. You know, Jimmy Buffett did it, you know, or whatever. Like, he's trying to sell out the legacy to like just take the cash, and to whom and for what purposes? Like, what was Oates trying to basically farm out the whole his portion of the catalog to like, you know, some music broker that like licenses music out to every pharmaceutical drug that hits the market so they can make their own like Ozempic or like whatever, like, you know, like that's like a pretty highly sought thing, is to be able to have controlling rights of a popular song and to be able to re-record it with your fucking branding and change the melody and shit to fit your fucking the pronunciation of the the fucking prescription drug you're hawking or whatever. Like, is that what he was trying to do and Daryl didn't like it?
No, he was doing it to hurt Daryl.
You think so?
I mean, it said they sold 80 million records.
Right.
And they strike me as pretty decent businessmen.
Sure.
You know, and you know, they got Mottola on their side, and everyone's got dirt on Mottola.
Right? Yeah.
So like, it wasn't for the money. He's just
right.
like, I can't fucking stand this
What would
guy.
hurt him the most?
Yeah, and
what
it's
would be the worst thing I could do to hurt him?
This partnership is not equal.
Right.
You know, one of them is the front man. Like, I kind of get where Oates is coming from. Like, you call Hall and Oates, but Hall is the front man. He sings all the lead vocals. It seems like he writes most of the songs. He vetoes your reggae song and says, no, we're going to make it this way. Like,
yeah, and he was right, he says.
Yeah.
Right, but
my,
also...
my big takeaway from all of this is that it kind of makes me sad that it does appear that these two guys never really had a brotherly
like
bond.
No bond.
No bond.
They were
much
always
less,
just like colleagues, like workplace colleagues, which is insane.
Which is probably why they were able to pump out like fucking 18 albums in 15 years because they weren't out smoking butts, joking around,
having experiences and like in Japan, like with the locals or seeing the sites or like touring even in the same way together. They're arriving at the places separately and traveling separately and being like, hey, how's it going? You got all your shit? All right, let's get going. You know, like, you know, like,
it seems like such a waste. It's like when you hear like Warren Buffett still lives in the same house that he's lived in Nebraska for.
Right.
It's like, why?
Opportunity.
Go get a nice house and live it up, man. I mean, what are you hoarding all this fucking money for?
Yeah, what are you holding against each other that you can't enjoy it together? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't like.
These guys are some of the biggest rock stars of all time. At the birth of MTV, the best time to be a rock star.
Right? Yeah, like the peak of like your ability to do whatever you want and like just jet set and like. Played Live Aid. Like, we're not going to get to it, but I had a whole bunch of shit about Live Aid and like, like just the peak of of notoriety. You get anecdotes where you're hanging out with Miles Davis and, you know, who knows, God knows, like every other little, like he's on like name bases with Kathy Lee Gifford and like all these people that he's interviewed who have interviewed with him over the years. And like, you know what I mean? Like, what more do you want at some point? It's like the discussion we were having about Skid Row. You know, it's like those guys are so bitter against Sebastian, but it's like, but without him, you wouldn't have really probably hit these heights.
Yeah. That's clearly the case here.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe
Absolutely.
for both of them. Because those connections are pretty fucking important.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly.
Stories, so.
Right. Was Tommy Mottola like from Oates' neighborhood? And that was part of the deal, is that we got to keep John connected to this whole thing because he's from the neighborhood or whatever, like that kind of shit.
Talk about it over some water ice.
And then that's that's why John Oates is like this Greek tragic figure, because that's his ultimate kind of shame, is that he's like the make work Nepo baby of the situation between the manager and the talent, he's just like the glue or something, right?
But
so
I can
we were
also
all speculating how come the other cat isn't here. I mean, I know you're the guy with the talent and you wrote all the...
Hold on, sorry. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I can also see if he wrote a lot of these songs and then no one's really seeing it because Hall is singing the lead vocals. Everyone just kind of probably assumes that he wrote it, and
a very
their whole career.
I got to assume. Yeah, I got to think. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's over there like I'm writing a lot of the great hits and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, it's a
This
sad
son of a
duo.
bitch. Yeah.
It's a sad duo, man.
Very sad. All right, Howard. Let's let Howard get to he always gets to the truth. That's why he's one of the great interviewers of all time, or whatever.
I knew you were going to say that. The other guy with the talent.
Hold on, what the fuck did he say?
So we were all speculating. How come the other cat isn't here? I mean, I know you're the guy with the talent and you wrote all the songs.
I knew you were
see what we were just saying?
The other guy with the talent.
Howard just proved your point, Jack. Like literally. Yeah. All right, and Daryl's a good sport, because this is well before the divorce 7 years ago. He gives him his credit because he tries to maintain the image of the brand. He knows how to play ball.
Talent and who wrote Maneater, Out of Touch, and She's Gone. Let's see, where is he? He's in the woods also in Colorado, though. So
is that do you live in the woods?
Yeah, I live up in Dutchess County.
Oh, you do, but you're not close with. I mean, when I say Hall and Oates, we think of like two brothers who, went through all
that would be correct. Yeah. Two brothers that live on opposite sides of the world.
But the fact of the matter is, you're not crazy about Oates personally, right? Is that true? Come on, be honest.
Be honest? You want me to be honest?
Yeah, be honest.
Am I crazy about him? Well, he makes me crazy sometimes.
He makes you nuts.
But no, I like John, man. John and I have been friends since we're teenagers, man.
But you're not friends. I mean, you don't have...
Did I ever tell you the story about how we got trapped in an elevator one time?
Yeah.
All right. So Howard knows. Everybody knows. They will never perform again. What would it take? They're already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What else can you dangle in front of them? At this point.
You about to show me?
Well, yeah. I'm trying to segue, and
there was something going on.
All right, hold on.
To as I just said, to really realize and finish out my creative career in a way that's 100% unencumbered and 100% pure in terms of what I want to do.
Could you and Daryl ever see yourself sharing a stage again?
I doubt it. No, not. I won't say I doubt it. I would say no.
What would it take?
Definitive.
Nothing. It's not about money. It's not about anything. I think that that ship has sailed, and well, if you want to go a little deeper into this, I would like people to remember Hall & Oates in its prime. I would like people to remember Daryl and myself in our prime when we were singing at our best, we were writing at our best, producing at our best.
They will, brother. They will. Yeah, that doesn't mean you can't do an appearance or two, or it has to be this weird set in stone. We're never going. You know what I mean? You're making it weird.
Yeah. I don't believe him.
Right.
but that would be a good-ish point. I feel like if he's we don't want to go out there as a couple of fucking 70-year-old guys.
Losers.
I don't want to do that.
Well, then you need to stop touring solo then, right? Because all you're saying by that is I can't hang, right? Because
like I said, I don't believe him.
Right.
That is totally not at all what he is keeping him from playing with
presumably the audience that John Oates pulls, like we saw him playing in that club, his reggae song in that club, like his audience would like grow exponentially if they did that, you know what I mean? But he don't.
Yeah.
Do you think Daryl wants to and is like made it well known, like he would love nothing more than to just go back out one more time and do it the way they used to, and like this is the one thing that Oates can hold over him to like maintain some power in the dynamic or something?
I
Like
don't
withhold
know.
it from him or something to like make sure he doesn't get what he wants or something.
The little tantrum in the "We Are the World" recording by Daryl.
Yeah,
that kind of opened my eyes to him a little bit.
That's true.
Like maybe this motherfucker is pretty fucking difficult to work with, and he's getting all the credit all the time.
Right.
You know.
All right, well, let's look at a couple cover bands and get out of here. What do you think? I think we've done it. We've talked about they've put the nail in the coffin. They said it ain't going to happen again. What else can we say? You know, what else can we even add at this point, because it ain't happening apparently. He also said he'd never grow that mustache ever again because he didn't want to remember the times. So who's to say?
Yeah.
All right, now I could not find any.
When was that interview from?
This one?
Yeah.
The one we just watched?
Yeah.
10 months ago.
Okay, so this is what John Oates looks like in 2026.
Yep, this is our most current kind of iteration with his most current state, with his most current.
2025, I guess.
Yep.
You said 10 months ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not too bad. Really, I was gonna say, can we see what Hall and Oates look like in 2026? But they could still. Go
and he literally looks the same as he did at live at Daryl's house. Or like, okay, so how are you feeling, Jack? Do you feel like we need to get going, or like, do you have more time? Like I'm good to keep going, and I got a couple more things, but I don't want to be pushing your time. It's late. You know,
we're like pretty exhausted, to be honest with you.
That's fine. Yeah, so we'll move quickly. I have a Sammy Hagar on live at Daryl's house. Actually, I'm gonna press the issue with that piece because it's, Sammy's one of our patron saints in this band. He always has been, and so we should take a moment when he comes up to.
Yeah.
All right, so we need to talk about live at Daryl's house because I think that is almost as big as. Like, that is like a big piece of his legacy. Like, that was a big piece, Live at Daryl's house was kind of a thing, Your uncle would tell you about it. It was like your uncle's entree into the world of online video and YouTube at the time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the moment. I remember watching Daryl's house.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, then probably Pearl Jam. Eddie was on there or something. Probably.
Yeah. Everybody had because and that's the thing. He really, kind of like Rogan, cast a wide net and did this thing. Okay, so but I did kind of laugh at the way he talks about it, about the show.
You created this experiential TV in that we, the audience, we feel like we're inside your house. I mean, you created a new format that I don't think really existed before.
I don't think it did. I think I made something up. And the reason it feels like it was in my house is because it was in my house.
I just made it up.
So, I went with it. I just went with reality. I mean, you talk about reality shows. This is a reality show. I mean, there's no scripting, no nothing. It just happens.
Like, all that stuff is true, but it's also kind of evident that, like, Daryl doesn't actually watch any television. And so he's kind of not comparing it to anything.
A drink needs to be thrown in someone's face for it to be a reality show.
Yeah. But he thinks it's so novel. And it is, like we just said, like, it really was a thing. But the way he himself talks about it just makes me chuckle. Listen to this one. These are
I've lost track of how long Daryl's house has been going on. It's like 15 years? It was just my idea to use the internet for something that it had never been used for, which was entertainment. Nobody ever really had shows.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard
that's
to believe so much has changed. But when I was starting the show, I was sort of a pioneer. So I decided, okay, let me just do it in my house. Bring the world to me in the most intimate setting that I could think of and have no audience. That was the important part. One of my first guests was Smokey Robinson. All I could think.
That's literally how Bill talks about Club Random too. You know? All right, real quickly here. So there's that, and then here's the clip with Sammy I wanted to mention because there's a bit of a bomb.
House?
Huh?
When was Daryl's house?
I don't know actually. Is that something you could look up? Because I would say it's like 2009 or 10.
Because his at least might have been one of the first kind of things like this to put some real production value into it.
That's the truth, because he had the production connections, you know.
Yeah, and I remember it being like a nice little studio set type thing that.
Yes, has a stage kind of.
2007.
7, okay, so earlier than I guessed, but that sounds about right.
Live
so he
from
really was a
Daryl.
pioneer, because 2007 is like almost pre-YouTube, honestly. Definitely pre-YouTube, like most people using it widely, although it did exist. 2007 is really
fucking
pushing
internet
into when
wasn't as
like people
good,
were using
you know?
YouTube. Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
Like the capacity to download HD video and stuff was like, you know.
So we got to give it up for him. I thought he was being a little bit grandiose, self-aggrandizing with all that. Like, nobody was using the internet for entertainment. I think was the quote that caught me. But you know, he really was a bit of a pioneer. So shout out on that one. So this is a gem that I found from live at Daryl's house, where they're not actually at Daryl's house because Sammy Hagar's involved, and you know if Sammy's involved, Cabo Wabo is also going to be featured, you know? So they're live on location at Club Cabo Wabo, sampling some of the, you know, the kitchens, the menus, the stuff off the menu if you ever wanted to stop in and visit. You could also eat like kings like these guys are doing. But anyway, let's listen to this little fun fact that we picked up over some fajitas.
People that have the same story, and I'm always shocked. But the most shocking one is about you, that Eddie asked you to sing in Van Halen. Wow. You know about that? I heard about it. I just got verification. There you go. Are you told? It blows my mind because right when Eddie was around, they were coming to shows and everything. They wanted to make a change. What if he did it, man? It would have been weird, wouldn't it? Well, first of all, I wouldn't have had a gig back. Well, I had a gig, but I mean, I wouldn't have ever had that little run that we had, which was nice. That would have been weird. Both of our fate would have been off. I tell you what, we wouldn't be sitting here together right now, probably. It would have been strange. It would have been so weird. Just think about karmically, you know, what the turns and the twists, what it would have done for you, or what it wouldn't have done, or what, you know. But I keep running into people, that say, "Oh yeah, Eddie asked me to do that." I'm going, "Really?" And I'm going, "Now I'm starting to not feel so special now, you know." No, I think he was so. He was asking everybody ran in.
I love the spread. This is the drummer in the backwards hat and the bass player and the guitarist that they just did a set with earlier on the show, and now they're eating some chicken salads. But
it's like a little surf and turf, a little steak and shrimp.
You're right.
Pretty good, actually.
Oh man, Club Cabo Wabo,
A fresh
primo
avocado.
stuff. Yeah, baby.
Yeah,
you know, you toss that down with a Cabo mixer or whatever. You know, a Cabo Sunrise. Fuck yeah,
Man,
Sammy knows how to treat you.
Yeah, he does. He's got that St. Louis connection too. Where for some reason people just love Hagar in St. Louis. The
That's
K
us, baby. Shout out. Yeah.
But these guys really are like the fucking Forrest Gumps of rock stars.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
Just drops out. Oh yeah, you know, I heard that Eddie asked you to sing in Van Halen.
Yeah,
you know, it's like Gump meeting the president for the second time. Or
right.
whatever.
Well, I had this.
And he's just like, it's like all of this has been wasted on these two. They have had the worst,
definitely on Sammy,
time being rock stars ever.
You mean Hall & Oates? You're talking about
Hall
Hall &
&
Oates. I thought you
yeah.
were in the moment. I'm sorry. I was saying Sammy and Daryl here. I'm like, well, I get what you're saying to an extent, but no, you're totally right because like I had the same thought from this clip where it's like, okay, so we got Van Halen bowing at the foot. We've got Michael Jackson coming up on the side and being like, hey, you know, I copped your shit and I used it for one of my biggest hits. You know what I mean? Like these guys had the electricity, you know?
You know, these guys are rock royalty.
Absolutely.
And they just are like
miserable,
going through the motions of it.
Yes.
Things are just happening to them.
Yeah, I never really did drugs. I never really partied with that shit. You know, I smoked pot or whatever. You know, yeah, you're totally right. Like they just didn't. It doesn't seem like they enjoyed it in the way they could because you know, like. Or something, or like, why are you so miserable? You know, I hate to see it, guys. We don't like this. Okay, so we got to take a second and shout out the Hall & Oates subreddit because while I was prepping for this episode, I put out a little message to help them point me in the right direction, and I got a bunch of good stuff. So I want to do a quick scan through to make sure we don't forget anything. Yeah, a lot of people really pointed me in the right direction on that one. So just giving it a little quick scan here, making sure I didn't forget anything there, but shout out to everybody there for listening or for helping. Yeah, for listening, because hopefully you're going to come back and listen. But anyway, for helping us get all this good info. All right, last thing we're going to look at here is a band or two. So I found some tribute bands. And these Hall & Oates tribute bands are all Hall & Oates tribute bands in the classic sense. Like, we have some tribute bands, which was hard to find for King Crimson and for Skid Row a bit. But they don't really do the, you know, let's just take a look. They get the songs. All right, Mind Over Matter. Oh, Jesus. Sorry. They're here to blow our minds.
Oh yeah, baby.
Let's do
an alto sax.
Yep. The guys in the band have been doing this for a long time, man. I hope they're really old. They sound great. I can't hear them doing the backups. All right, so we're loving Mind Over Matter. We're going to give them I'm going to scroll down and give them a thumbs up. Oh, look at him shred. Do we have any footage of John Oates doing more shredding than that right there? Is on the record.
No, I don't think so.
I haven't seen it. All right, so that's Mind Over Matter. Let's move on to the next one I found, which was these guys are real pros. Or wait, no. These guys are the real pros. Oh, hold on. I gotta hear this. This sounds good. All right. Okay, now we're moving on to Private Eyes, the Hall & Oates tribute band. And these guys have a very professional production. This is like the Flashback Heart Attack level of LA-based Hall & Oates tribute band. Industry pros.
Damn, the bass player is really nailing Hall.
Yeah, oh, is he? Hold on. Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
They got the Hall on the bass, and then the guitar player is doing a kind of Oates when he had the sleeveless shirt. Yeah, he is. They brought in another guy to do the actual Hall vocals, though. Ooh, look at he's got his moves. 2 saxes. All right, the thing I'm noticing about all of these Hall & Oates tribute bands is like in order to do the songs, you need like at least 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have a singer who can do it. So he's doing nothing but singing, and they all got a horn or two. So it's a big lineup with a lot of rehearsal, a lot of splitting the check, a lot of, you know, sound check, and you got to really want it. But I think you could do. I think you could do pretty well because the market for a Hall & Oates tribute band is probably pretty good. You know,
if you had a really skilled keyboard player, you could eliminate some of those live saxophones too. Be a little cheesy, but you know.
But does that take away from the tribute band quality of what you're doing? You know what I mean? Are you not tributing it if you don't have the live sax? Because these guys aren't doing any costumery or cosplay that we would like to see with our tribute bands, you know, as we prefer. That they put a little effort into making us, you know, suspend our disbelief and go along with the fact that this isn't some LA-based working musician, but actually this is rock and roll royalty right in front of me, and I can just get hammered enough to believe that it is, you know, or whatever is the supposed appeal of going to a tribute show. You know, you got to dress up. You know, these guys kind of are the closest thing I found to that because of the Oates, the guy on guitar. And they're all pretty old. He sounds great. See the Oates?
Yeah.
But these guys all just kind of end up looking like the band at like a, you know, Pastor Greg mega church or something, you know, Life Plus mega church band.
Yeah.
Because they got so many of the guys, like again, 2, 4, 6, 7 people.
I saw
so much effort.
Candace Cameron, is that the chick from
Full House?
From Step by Step or yeah, Full House, I guess.
Okay, yeah.
There was like a advertisement, like a concert advertisement that I guess was selling tickets to see her out at some mega church.
Oh, really? That wouldn't surprise me because she's super like right wing, like weird Christian for sure.
I know, but it was weird because it was like a bunch of comedians, a bunch of bands and stuff, and then it had her at this church. I was like, they fucking sell tickets for that?
Well, it's like the Angel Studios approach of like, well, instead of going through the usual channels of show business, just go straight to the churches and tell them that they're doing like an act of like paying it forward to buy tickets, you know, to this event. It's like an act of ministry or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real easy way to get people in seats, I think, if you do the right messaging for them, you know. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
It was just weird to see him in a bulk advertisement.
Like in a church venue.
Ticketmaster or whatever.
Right, yeah. Like for like a church venue.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you would think a big church like that should have its own in-house ticketing system. How are you really scamming people if you're not controlling the ticket buying point of sale
Gemstones
too,
would have had
you know?
their own.
Right. Oh, yeah. Eli Gemstone would have had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like this saxophone guy in the back. He would have been in the fucking Gemstones band, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so there goes our tribute bands. I think we've pretty much talked it all the way through. Let's let these guys play it out while we chat it out. Any final thoughts, Jack? We really did kind of give our big thesis on a lot of this already.
Yeah, you know, my final thought is just that it's sad that these two, it's sad that rock stardom has been wasted on them.
That
and
it's not enough.
They never liked each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, well, I kind of agree. And like, that was my thesis to begin with was, so these guys not like each other, and then it was kind of confirmed as I went, and more so, and then until they pretty much explicitly said, we're done, you know. But we'll always have the music, right, Jack? We'll always have the tunes. We'll always have tribute bands that will be there to perform them for us for years to come.
And
All right.
John Oates will always have Tommy Mottola and that island.
Yep. That's right. His memories of his days on the island.
Yeah.
All right. So two last super quick things as we go. We like to end on a good cover. I got two in this case. The first one, I love this guy. He's had some real gems over the years. Australian Hall & Oates cover. That's what this says.
I'm a cunt.
So anyway, that's all there is to that. But I thought that was right up your alley. I like that guy. I don't remember what his name is, but he's had a few bangers over the years. All right. And then finally, to go out, one good cover. This is a Filipino Hall & Oates band, I believe. But this actually really fucking rips. So we're going to go off on this. And yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We still got a handful of people hanging out. Thanks for Nate and Dean for the raid. Spotting Waldo on all the places, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the things. Check out the reels that we've been putting up lately. Have been going up pretty much every day. We're posting something almost every day. So particularly after this Hall & Oates episode, we're going to have plenty, because this was a monumental one. I don't think we're going to push quite for this length of show as we go, but as we said in the anticipation of this record, we got to really do it up for Hall & Oates. You know, we can't half-ass it. She's cool as hell, dude.
Oh, is this Noga, what's her name?
Perhaps. This is Winaya Satasia. 2.27 2,000 subscribers, 1.9 thousand vote or views. But she's silky smooth. These guys are great.
Oh yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Right. Yep, thanks for hanging out. We're going to get off on that note, and, yes, can do. All right, or I don't know. I'm out of Hall & Oates. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace.
All right, later.